What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Doc Holiday. We're back with another HBCU OverDrive live stream. If you haven't done it by now, make sure that you like this stream. Make sure that you comment, share, and most of all, subscribe. And if you want to become a member, it's all number $4.99 a month. You get everything exclusive from your boy right here. And let me go ahead and get this ticker on right here. So y'all already know what's going on today. And I put it in question. So I don't want nobody to be on the fence or this, that, and the third. But I put it in the question: did Ed Reed fumble his opportunity? Now I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna bring a guest on here. And he was, if you listen to the live, to the space Twitter space with Uncle Luke, y'all, Austin Yankowy. Did I get it? Was on there, told the story, told him about him, talked about himself, and then told us what was going on at Bethune-Cookman regarding the football program, and also was regarding to the school. So I'm gonna bring him on live also. But before you ask this question, well, we're gonna ask this question first, and then it's another question we gotta ask. Like we said, who's at fault? Who was at fault? And I did I did that show a couple of days ago on Wednesday, asking who was at fault. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring my guest on to the show. And
what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Tell everybody about yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
Man, my name is Austin Yankowy. I play at Bethune. I'm a tight end. This is my 5th year in college. I've been around the block. Been to JUCO, Morgan State, UTEP, and ULM as my career. I was a 2-time walk-on. Ended up getting my starting spot at my 2nd time in walking on, and I was actually homeless at that time.
Dang.
I ended up starting halfway through the season and just, kind of got things rolling. They didn't give me the scholarship though by the next the spring after that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try and find a spot that's gonna give me a scholarship. And BCU wasn't even on my radar, but my old OC from UTEP, Coach Canales, he hit me up because he was the OC at BCU, and he convinced me to come down. Love that guy, and I still appreciate him to this day for giving me that opportunity. But he warned me about how BCU was, how the campus was a little bit messed up. There was a hurricane previously that kind of messed some things up, screwed up the locker room situation and stuff. And I know he was downplaying it just a little bit, but like when you get there, like you really see how bad it is. And you can understand, like, school definitely doesn't have the funding for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like at times, like you get some funds here and there to be able to put it into the right, stuff. And then you never see it happen. It never happens. So, we went through a lot. And to answer that question, did Ed Reed fumble the opportunity? I think the opportunity was just they kind of made up their mind before even putting him in this situation.
Okay.
I kind of think that, they kind of had their minds made up, and, they were just kind of pulling him along here. Because it just didn't seem right once, like, we found out he wasn't signed after 1 week. You know what I mean?
Right.
Usually you get signed and you're done, It's already sealed up. But no, they let him spend his money on us and let him, waste his time moving in, starting up on projects, all sorts of stuff. Like, just starting to actually, like, move in and make himself, like, available as a head coach. Getting the recruitment process started. We were bringing in 26 kids today.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was going to be like an additional 30 coming back or something like that.
Wow.
And just something like that, some crazy stuff like that. They had a bunch of different recruitment waves coming through. And it's just crazy because they just on the same day like that we got these kids coming in, they just dropped this bombshell on us, and we got to do this in front of the kids' parents and in front of the kids in general. Like it's not a winnable situation for him, and you can understand why he's so frustrated and yelling in the videos because that's just passion. I don't know why people get so mad about passion. Because like you see Tom Brady be passionate about stuff. Like why can't Ed Reed be passionate like that too? Tom Brady be throwing stuff and screaming. Ed Reed does the same thing, but it's just because because he's a coach like that. I don't think that's anywhere near an excuse. I have Coach Rich Rodriguez. That's my man. I love him. He allowed me to actually get a spot walking on at ULM. That man's a crazy man. He's nuts. He screams, throws shit, all sorts of stuff, goes nuts on you. But he's getting you better. You know what I mean? It's just a type of coaching. And I think that we're at a point in time where people like to nitpick a job that they don't know anything about.
Okay.
And I think if you don't have the experience, it's just weird to comment about it.
Yeah. So my question to you is, how when you first found out that he was going to be the head coach of Bethune-Cookman, what was your reaction when you found out he was going to be the head coach? I want to go. The reason why I asked because I kind of want to go back and I want to get it from your perspective as far as being a student athlete, playing on the team for the football team. I want to get your perspective about how was it perceived from the team that when they named him the head coach.
I mean, I was excited because that's a childhood hero of mine. But I know a lot of other dudes were excited. I was very excited because I thought I was going to be done after this year, after this past season. I did 5 years. I was at a point in my life, and I told Coach Reed this when I talked to him for the first time. It's like I was at a point in my life where I'm happy to drop it, and I'd be proud of myself. You know what I mean? I'd be proud of what I did and where I've been at and all that stuff, how long it took me to get to the place I need to get to. As long as I got my degree, I'd be proud of myself in what I did football-wise. And I know not a lot of kids thought the same way.
Okay.
But I'm at that point in my career where I can be like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm cool.
All right.
All right.
And what were the things when, because we realized at the time he was named the head coach, y'all were on Christmas break.
Yeah.
And then when you came back on campus, what were things that he tried to implement before we even found out that he wasn't even signed to sign the contract yet?
First, it was the field behind the ATC, which is our athletics building, which is where we lift at, where we have our team meetings at, that stuff. There's a big patch of like tall sawgrass and some trees. And it goes for like maybe, I think it's like 500 yards or 600 yards. And the first like 2-3 days, he chopped all that down.
Right.
And he started clearing it to make it flat. And he wanted to turn that into the locker room and practice field because we don't have a locker room on campus, which is a pain. And then we don't really have a practice facility on campus either. The practice facility is a sand, like really bad sand field that we have. So it doesn't really help us. You know what I mean? Like it's bad on your knees and your ankles, and it's just not fun. So other than that, like he made sure that we got team like dinners in, get some camaraderie coming together and stuff like that. He cracked down on the marijuana policy and grades, that type of stuff. So he suspended guys who were not meeting the grade threshold that they need to meet, and then for guys who were failing drug tests. So, but that was it. You know what I mean? That was the only other stuff that he was doing so far.
Okay. And so, I mean, how long did he feel? You said you're going to get a new locker room. Y'all going to try to get an actual new locker room. How long was it said it was going to take for them to build that said locker room?
He said like 2 months.
2 months?
He said give it 2-3 months and it'll be done. The turf would be the first thing that goes down. You can put that down in like a 2-3 weeks period. You know what I mean? Like just throw it down. But he said that about two months, I think it was. Like by the end of spring, we should have that, is what he said.
Okay. Hold on before we continue going. I'm gonna give my disclaimer to everybody that's in the chat. This is not a whole HBCU problem. This is a Bethune-Cookman issue.
Yeah.
Let's not lump this in together with all black colleges and universities. This is just strictly from the mouth of a Bethune-Cookman student athlete letting us know what is going on at Bethune-Cookman University.
Yeah, it needs to be talked about. That's all. That's literally all I want to do is just make sure that's talked about. People know about the protest that's going to be happening. People know about, we're doing community service tomorrow at 10:50 on campus. Just all that stuff. Like we're planning to try and just make a difference to bring him back because we got him, and then you guys let him go, not by our choice, but by your choice. So that leaves our voice not heard. You know what I mean? I want us to be heard as much as I can. So that's why I was in the space talking for what seemed like 4.5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it was that long because I didn't even know what a space was until today. I saw it and I was like, you know what? I just wonder like what people are saying. So I just popped in. I heard people talking. I was like, you know what? Let me just ask and see if I can, chat it up with these people and just let them know what's really happening. Because it's not about slandering the school, talking bad about the school. The school already has a bad reputation. You know what I mean? Like you can walk on the campus and be like, damn, it don't look good. You know what I mean? This ain't looking too great. There's trash everywhere, there's mold inside of some of the buildings. Like you can see that stuff easy. You know what I mean? I don't need to speak on it.
Yeah. So I got a question. Somebody in my chat room asked a question. He asked, was Ed truthful when he talked to y'all as a team? Like, did he seem truthful? Did he seem genuine when he talked to y'all as a team?
Yeah, he was always truthful with us because there was no reason to lie. Because I'm pretty sure, he made sure that it was specifically clear that we were told, hey, I'm not signed yet, but you know what I'm going to do for y'all? I'm going to stick with you even if they fire me, you know what I mean? Or they don't sign me. Because he's the type of person that keeps his promise. He's trying to make the university better. He's going to try and get to that point where he can make it as good as he can get in the position that he's in. And that's what he did. He laid down the groundwork already. So he laid down the groundwork to the point where the AD ended up kind of piggybacking off of what he said. And he was like, you guys are going to have new locker rooms, new this, that, and the next. And we were like, Coach Reed said that. You know what I mean? Coach Reed said that, and you just got rid of him. And now you're saying that. Oh, we're going to have it by next year? We were supposed to have it by, the end of spring. But you're changing the dates up because you really don't know.
Right.
You just, you're like, okay, he's already flattening this stuff down. Then let's go talk about this to them and make sure that that's a promise we can keep. Even though I don't believe they'll keep that promise. That's just me, though.
Okay. And, so, some people, I mean, the way that I'm looking at it like this, everybody can make assumptions. Everybody can formulate their own opinion. But the way I see it, because it's coming from you, and you got boots to the ground on that campus right there, you have a clear eye, you have clear vision about what's going on campus. You might not know what's going on behind closed doors as far as with the board of trustees, the president, the athletic director, but you see when you walk around campus, you see everything that you feel like something needs to change. How do other kids on campus, not just with the football team, how do other kids on campus feel? How do they feel about what the decision was for the school to let to not continue with Ed Reed?
All right, so this is a good question because there's a little app. It's called Fizz, and it's kind of like it's like a smaller like social network for Bethune, just like for everyone to communicate. Oh, what's the tea today? Like, what's people talking about today and stuff like that. Like, it keeps everyone up to date. The whole entire app is flooded with people talking about how we need to get Ed Reed back, that we need to protest in the quad. Like, my idea for protesting in the quad, that wasn't my original idea. I just went on that app, which I don't like to go on because it seems sometimes it gets toxic. So I just like looked just to see if like people knew about what was going on. And they were like, we need to go to the quad. We need to protest at 12 p.m. And I was like, let's promote that then. You know what I mean? Let's promote that and try to make this right. And we right now as a team, we're going to meet tomorrow after community service, and we're going to really see what's going on. But we're not, all too sure about what's going on yet.
So, I'm about to say my wife is in the chat, so she's trying to tell everybody. That's it. People that's in the chat, make sure that this is coming from her. This is coming from the executive producer. Make sure if you want to answer, you want to get a question in. Let's do a super chat question that way, because like I said, this is going towards the channel. And I can say, I maybe donate some of this money to Bethune Cookman, so that way we all, what I'm saying, it's all going to be, it's out of love, pretty much. Yeah. So just make sure we put, if you're going to, let's do it as a super chat, y'all. The questions going on right here. One question is from my guy Ronald Hunt, one of my supporters. He asks, did y'all, because of the conditions of the facilities as far as for football, did y'all have to practice away from campus, or did y'all actually practice on campus?
Okay, yeah, we never practiced on campus. Every single practice that we had, I think the only time that we practiced on campus was whenever we were on Sundays after games. We would go and we would do, for some reason, we would do conditioning the day after a game. And then we would also we would stretch and run over plays that we needed to work on, just walk through stuff. And then in the summer, we kind of did some 7-on-7 work on that field on campus. But to be frank, we always went to the stadium to practice. That was our everyday meeting spot, except for in summer camp where we went to New Smyrna. And that's where we would practice at for just summer camp or fall camp. And that's it.
All right. I got a guy that was he was on my show the other day. He actually did work for Bethune, and he could, if nobody want to know, I was sending him a link to the chat, and my thing about this, y'all, if you want to voice your concerns, you want to voice your opinion and be respectful, because I'm gonna let you know, any ounce of disrespect on my channel, I will respectfully, disrespectfully exit you out the chat. so I just let everybody know. I'm a cool, calm, and collected person. Everybody will tell you I'm a cool, calm, collected person, but it's not gonna be no slander in on this stream right here, because what we're not trying to do, what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up with somewhat of a solution. What we're not trying to do is we're not trying to bash the university as a whole. It's already that the university is already going through a lot anyway.
Yeah,
But
and if they think that, I was trying to slander them or like talk badly about them in the space today, it's not that. It's just getting people the information of how we as student athletes are suffering. That's really it. That's all. I want to make sure that our voice is heard, or at least you guys acknowledge, that we're trying to survive. You know what I mean? Like I can't pay my rent. You know what I mean? Like I'm $300 behind every single month on my rent. Like I can't really get food all the time. My girlfriend got to work and provide for both of us, which sucks because it's a little different now because I can go out and get a job with the schedule change if Coach Reed doesn't get hired, rehired or reinstated. But it's just sad because I've been to big programs. I know how it's supposed to look. I know how it's supposed to run, how it's not supposed to run. And I've been to places where I was homeless and I was treated better than here. I was given more food when I was homeless by the schools, which is wild.
How you doing, Mr. Ford? This is my resident HBCU aficionado right here, Mr. Ford.
Hey.
And I have Jay Blue. What's going on, everybody? And I'm good. I'm gonna say this. This is my disclaimer. This is not an HBCU problem, everybody. I want everybody to understand this. It's coming in, not an HBCU problem. This is a BCU issue. Bethune-Cookman. This is a Bethune-Cookman issue. So let's not lump this into one whole thing that black colleges can't do what they need to do.
Could I answer one question?
Go ahead.
I just saw a guy ask. He asked why stay if I'm being treated so bad. Because the transfer portal is hard, man. There's like 20,000 people in it. I've done it 3 times, and I don't intend on doing it more. Because like I played FBS. I know how it is. I played against LSU. There's clips of me doing it. Like you can go on my Twitter. You can see me playing again in the big leagues and stuff like that. And we almost beat them too. But we like going to leave, especially when you don't have recent film. So like recent spring film would help me in my recruitment process because the next deadline open or dead period opening is going to be in May. So taking the film that I got from last year for last season and lumping it together with the rest of my stuff, I wouldn't feel comfortable with jumping into the transfer portal again unless I had some people on speed dial, which I kind of do. I got a couple people who I know. Who I can just, call up and be like, hey, I need a spot to go to. And they'll take me. But the thing is that nothing's ever guaranteed, especially in the transfer portal, because I've had a Power 5 offer, and then it just gone.
Right.
Okay, gone. I've had a group of 5 offer that was really, really good. Bang, gone next day. So, like, those things it's very fickle. And you got to be careful going in and understand how dangerous it is for your career, because there's some guys who get stuck in limbo there and then they're done. That's their career. It's wraps.
Right.
That's the danger of leaving. And I saw one other question, which was, is the rent problem a me issue or a school issue? I can explain this. And you guys are going to be like, wow, what the hell? So all last summer, they couldn't get me housing, so I spent money on a motel to stay down here, $4,673 and like 67 cents or something like that. That's how much I paid for that motel all through summer until August 13th when I moved into my apartment, because this was the only thing I could get, because I have an emotional support animal who's been traveling around with me since I was at UTEP, so 2-3 years ago. And they didn't want to take him, even though they took 2 other dogs ahead of him. In the summer, one of my teammates and then another person's dog. So I had to pay for my own motel. So not only did they not give me a stipend, even though I was off campus and in a motel, they also didn't reimburse me. So I had to quick get a hotel or get an apartment so I could start getting the stipend. So I could stop bleeding even more money, because I would be hemorrhaging way more money weekly than I would monthly.
All right. Yeah, I understand. Now I'm gonna tell people like this. I'll give people background. I'm gonna give people a little story right here. Story time with Doc Holliday, y'all. One time when I was at Jackson State, I stayed with a friend. I stayed on campus. Yeah, I'm going to school and I'm staying on campus with somebody, right? Situations happen. I became homeless. I lived out of my car, and nobody knew about what was going on with me. I lived out of my car, y'all, and I finished out the rest of my semester, y'all, till I went back home to Dallas. Finished out the rest of my semester. I understand where he's come. I understand where he's coming from, because I done been there. I done been there, y'all. And it's crazy. I don't really tell too many people about that story right there, but I done been there, where I gotta find somebody to lay my head, for like a couple of days until I could get something going on and get some money in my pocket and stuff like that. I did that. And I understand where he's coming from. And was it a me thing or this? At that time, it was the situation came about. I had to think quick on my feet, and that's what happened. But
for me, it was COVID. COVID messed the whole process up. You know what I mean? Because like COVID killed a whole lot of people's dreams when it came to transfer portal stuff.
mm-hmm.
And I just hit that portal, and I ended up having to take even like a gap semester. And I didn't think I would even play ball no more. But I ended up getting a preferred walk-on to ULM. I go down there, no housing. Okay, well, you can either go home or tough it out. I'm gonna tough it out. I toughed it out. I made it through. I ended up starting. I played. Like I enjoyed my time there, and I was really hoping to stay there, but they didn't have the money to give me a scholarship. It was kind of some politics stuff, because my OC left, became a head coach. So my new OC didn't really know me like that, and it was just politics stuff, some business stuff, and it's always been a business. So that's why I ended up leaving, went to BCU, because I knew my coach, and I trusted my coach, my OC that came over there, and that's why I'm at BCU. But it's not about using an HBCU, because if you wanted to really use an HBCU, you go to Jackson State. You know what I mean? You go somewhere that has all the bells and whistles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to BCU. You don't go to Mississippi Valley State. You know what I mean? Places that are of lower stature in the SWAC or in the Big South. You know what I mean? There's no reason for that. If you're smart and you want to use an HBCU like you guys claim that I'm trying to do, which is not what I'm doing, it's more or less you aim higher. Like FAMU would be a good one, because FAMU, I've seen so many dudes just catapult themselves from FAMU, but you got to be more strategic than that. For me, it was just like, I want to play football again, so I'm gonna have fun, go with my OC that I know.
Yeah, I'm actually texting a good brother of mine, and we're gonna try to figure something out, man. Because in a sense, bro, this shouldn't happen to anybody, to any kid. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I told people, the Jay, you still on there? I want to make sure you still on there, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so this is what I told people. Was he at fault for what he said? I don't say he was at fault. Was it because of the grammar, the language that was used at the time? Yeah, you can say that. I mean, because this is Ed Reed. Ed Reed, like you said, he wears his emotions, his heart on his sleeve. He's because
just real.
he's a football player and he's genuine who he is.
Yeah.
But everybody, we all make mistakes, y'all. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. We all make mistakes. I ain't say what Ed Reed did was right, but I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna just I don't want to dismiss that man like that either. Now, Jay, you got any questions for?
No, not really, man. I'm just I feel bad that he's in that predicament at Cookman, man, but it's a messed up situation all the way around. You know what I'm saying? And just like you said, it wasn't what Ed Reed says, just how he said it. And I knew that the way that it was delivered, that contract wasn't gonna get signed.
I was hoping that it would.
Yeah,
I was hoping they'd look past it because, like, you got two presidents. This is the one thing I'll always bring up because, like, you had two previous presidents that stole like $9 million each, and you're suing one of them, but you get upset over a live that got screen recorded, not something he really posted, with malicious intent, something that kind of happened, just on its own. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that was forced. It was just something that happened on its own because it was a buildup of things. I know that he got mad at some of our guys that were picking up trash because some of the guys were taking, some time off and like leaning up on a fence. Well, he broke his windshield. He broke his windshield on his golf cart because of that. He got mad. So after that, he was already on live and he started to talk, and then he started getting upset about the stuff. So, like, I understand that he was upset. So I really don't like to blame him because sometimes when you say stuff like this, you kind of got to say it in a certain way for people to really hear it. Because, like, you can say it the way that everyone else is like, oh, you just got to say it like this. You got to say it like this. You got to be kind of, politically correct about this. But no one's really going to hear it. When you say it in a completely different way, a different manner, that's when people hear it. That's when people talk about it because it shook the boat. You know what I mean? People really pay attention to that stuff.
Two questions. Did you say he broke the windshield of the golf cart?
Yeah, he punched it.
Okay. That right there, red flag. But I'm moving on. And which one of the presidents are they suing?
I forget which one.
They've had three.
They've had
three interims and one permanent. And the one permanent, he left after 2 years.
I forget which one it was. I'm pretty
probably
sure
Jackson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you was there in the space, was you not, when they was talking about it? Because I don't have the I've only been here.
I think it was I know you were talking about the guy that was the city I think he was the city employee in where he's from, but he kind of put it out there in the Twitter space, and it was the thing like I know Jay Blue, you was telling me about they was the school was trying to sue the one president for the misappropriation of funds for the campus
halls. Yeah, the res halls. Yeah, they had got into that $309 million deal, financing deal for them 2 res halls on campus, and that was President Jackson. So he was the president when I was working at Cookman.
Okay. Mr. Ford, I got
can you hear me?
I can hear. We can hear you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
For the young man?
What's the young man's name?
My name is Austin.
Austin?
Yeah.
I think I remember your recruitment. Now, you said Canales was the one at Texas El Paso. He's not the guy that was at North Texas State, was he?
He was at North Texas at one point. He was the interim head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now let me ask you something. He was said that he quit during the middle of the year? What happened with that?
No, he didn't quit in the middle of the year.
Okay, what happened? Because was he there for the Florida Classic?
Yeah, he was there for the Classic. He was there all the way through.
Okay, so he wasn't. Okay. So, but here's the question I want to ask you, young man. Of the coaches that are there now, who do you think could take on the role as head coach on the staff that you got there now?
I only got 2 from the previous staff.
And who are those two?
Lucas and McCoy.
Okay, McCoy coaches what?
McCoy coached DBs and special teams. Lucas coached wide receivers. But I kind of don't like that question because, I gotta pick somebody.
Right.
I think that somebody that would be good for the job is Coach McCoy. I think Coach McCoy has a lot of experience.
Okay, now did you meet Alan Suber?
No, I don't think so.
You never met him. Okay.
I was only there for last year, or here for last year, and then coming up into present right now.
So where's Coach Canales now?
I'd have to give him a text. I'm pretty sure he's kind of waiting on an opportunity now. In my opinion, he'd be the best bet if they wanted to go for a head coach.
Right, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I remember Canales when he was at UNT. Yeah, he took over.
He was at UNT. He was at Tennessee, Maryland.
Now is he a graduate of Tennessee?
I have to ask.
Because I know something about Tennessee is in his past. Because I remember doing some research on him.
He was a coordinator over there.
Okay, yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Now, did he work for Jeremy Pruitt, or whose staff was he on?
I want to say when they had the Adidas jerseys at Tennessee, that's when he was working there. That's the only way I could remember the timestamp on that. And that was when I think Kamara was around.
Alvin Kamara.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
That might have been Dooley. That might have been Dooley.
Yeah,
it might have been Dooley.
Yeah, but he would be a really good fit. I wish he would come back. That's my boy. That's my guy. I love him.
Yeah. Now you from a JUCO?
We lost. Hold on, because it always has.
It's all good. It's all good.
He did go to. He's at. He's at Bethune. So he's the OC.
Yeah,
he's the OC.
He was the OC.
Okay, so. All right, here you go.
He was calling all the play. I mean, you could arguably say that with last year's
from a JUCO in California.
Okay, there you go.
I didn't go to JUCO in Cali. I went to JUCO in PA.
Oh, in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Lackawanna College.
Yeah, Lackawanna turns out a lot of big time people. I know about. Yeah. That's where Nugget is from. Did you know Nugget?
Yeah, I know DeJohn. That's my boy.
Yeah. That's
I played on the same. Me and him played for a national title together.
Right. Now, where's your home?
My home is Allentown, Pennsylvania. So
you're from Allentown. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Got a question. Got a question, and this is from Tamona. She just sent me a text. She wants me to ask you, Austin, what are 3 things that you would like to see change in the football program immediately or before next season that are within reason?
That are within reason? See, that's hard. It's hard to say because within reason for us could be way different for them. You know what I mean? I would hope that we could get, just turf rolls, just roll them out on top of that intramural field. You don't gotta fit them and stuff like that, but just enough so we have a turf field. We can say we got a turf field. I would say revision in the stipends so that we could at least pay our rent. You know what I mean? Because the norm that I've seen usually is you're over 1,000, 1,300 is a minimum. And it's not like I got a nice apartment or anything like that. I just so happened to be in a time where rent was really high. You know what I mean? So then the third thing, we need a locker room. We need a locker room, a place to shower, a place to put our football stuff. That's something we need. Those are the 3.
All right. So, and that's the thing. I'm gonna tell you, when you said, I remember we've listened to this, when you said that there was y'all was playing, y'all had. I know you said one time y'all playing games where you had to switch out helmets.
Oh yeah,
with other
First
players.
game, you can see it. There was a TikTok video of us sharing helmets.
Okay, and then you also said something about there was mold.
Oh yeah, there was mold in our helmets and practice gear for one of our practices.
Ooh.
It was, I believe, after the bye week. We came back, I think, after that bye week because we played SC State. No, NC State. SC State, yeah, SC State. And after that was the bye week. We had our bye week. 4 or 5 days, the pads kind of sat in their bags with like a picture and stuff like that. First day back to play to practice for Grambling, and it smelled like just like mold, straight up mold. We had mold on the balls, like it was bad. It was really bad. I told Coach Sims that I was like, we need to fix this, like really bad. This is terrible. So that was something that was pretty bad.
Okay, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
You know what that sound like, Mr. Ford?
That's terrible.
You know what that sound like, right?
That's a lawsuit. I know that.
Yep. It sounds like what happened with Grambling, what they was going through back 10 years ago.
Yeah. When they refused to play Jackson.
When they refused to play Jackson.
Yeah. That's terrible, man. That mold. Mold can kill you now.
It sure
can get into your lungs. That can kill you.
We wasn't very happy with that one. I was really
terrible.
up with it at that point. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is just wild. Like, I couldn't imagine having to do this, you know what I mean? And just keep going. Like, because I was at a point where I wanted to quit because I didn't play my first 2 games. And the way they explained how we were going to be repping at tight end, because Kamari was there. And Kamari is an NFL dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to start. That wasn't my intention. But we were told before we got there that we had a certain role to play. And we were all good in a certain category at tight end than one another at another category. So we would be able to be like a triple threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't end up doing that against Miami, SC State, nah. And then Grambling was when I first got my first couple of snaps. I talked to Canales and he was like, just hang in there for me. Like, let's get through this bye week and then we can, I'm going to be there a lot more. And then I ended up, I played like 20, 25 snaps against Grambling. And it was just like, it just kept getting worse because after that was the World Tour, is what we call it, where we were displaced for 3 weeks.
Yes. You were at Jackson, right? Didn't y'all live at Jackson State?
That was the second time.
Okay.
The first time was against Tennessee State. So they bussed up to Knoxville. Then they bussed to Huntsville because they went to Knoxville, played TSU. Then they went to Knoxville, played Alabama A&M. From Huntsville, they went all the way down to Jacksonville, and that's when I regrouped with them because I got a concussion against Grambling.
Right.
So I was out for 2 weeks, and I ended up meeting up with them at Edward Waters in Jacksonville.
And that was when you played Jackson State, right? In the TIA Stadium?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
man.
Hey, two questions for you. Two questions for you. So, one, for football players that are on scholarship at Cookman, they are not providing automatically, even if you live off campus, they're not providing you all with a meal plan for football players.
So we've got the CAF, but CAF food is hit or miss. Good breakfasts, in my opinion. Good breakfast. The rest of the stuff, that's where you're going. You start sledding downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what makes people like, do I want to go to the CAF or do I want to, go buy something with whatever I got?
Right.
For me now, it's just like, all right, I'm gonna go get groceries with whatever I got. I work a little bit here and there. Do Uber or whatever. My girlfriend comes back with enough tips. We go and get some groceries or something like that. But for me, it's if I was on campus, it'd be really hard to pick the CAF every single day.
Okay. And the second question for you, after the second hurricane, when did everybody come back to campus? Because I know it was a while before students came back to campus.
I think
like November or something.
No. I think it was actually like October 24th, because we were all there for Alabama State, which was our homecoming, and we lost, but we were all there for that. So I do know that it was maybe like a week or two after the entire world tour thing was done. Okay. So it might have been like the end of October-ish, I think. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Oh yeah, man. That was my other question right there about, because you had the two hurricanes. You had one in September, then next thing you know, you're in the clear for like a month and a half, and then you get backdoored with another hurricane in November, which I don't know how did that turn the morale of the team as far as having to deal with those, those natural disasters back to back.
So I think after the first one, we were like, whew, okay, thank God this is over, because, I think the one problem with having to be with each other every single day, I have a screenshot of the schedule that we have, and it was like over 14 hours of doing football stuff, like 14 or 15 hours a day. Like we'd start at like 8 and end at like 10:30 was like the end of treatment.
Okay.
So like it was rough, and you had to do that every day. And then there was no like, let's have fun today or something like that. You know what I mean? Like Coach Reed implemented those types of days already. He was like, every Thursday we go out as a team, we have dinner. You know what I mean? We go out to Dave and Buster's or something like that. Like we do something. We never had team bonding like that last year, which sucked because like it just made us feel even more distant, because everyone wanted distance from each other, being so close to each other all the time. But after the second time, it was just like, you gotta be kidding me! Like we're really doing it again. It was only a week, it was not fun,
How bad was the damage on campus? Because some of the pictures I've seen, like I guess like
one of the big trees fell over, like really bad.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then
what's that building called on International Speedway Boulevard? It's like the Student Center. Some of athletics is over there. They have like a game room and stuff over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that's called, but they had that big tree fell over, and then also the bridge going to the business building and the Performing Arts Center that got destroyed. So like they had to put a new one in, and they actually put a really nice new little bridge in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so now it's accessible.
Okay. Another thing I want to ask you, playing for Coach Sims, how was he as a head coach for y'all as a team? Because I understand, like, you got to understand, you got a lot of limited, you're limited on resources, but he try to make it, make a way with what he had. Yeah. So how was it playing for Coach Sims? And I understand y'all did not want to get that man fired because of, other situations.
I think I don't think it's my place to speak on Sims, because I was only there for 1 year. We got dudes that were there for 3, 4, 5 years, and they love Sims to death. They stand by him till the day that he would drop over and die. Like they would stand with him. And I don't think that I had the most personal experience with him. Me and him were cool, but I was never really that personally involved speaking to him all the time. So I don't think that I get a good grasp of whether or not he was a good head coach, because I wasn't there long enough to see what was really like going on. I was here for the back end of them just sledding downhill. You know what I mean? Because it was the second season of 2-9. You know, what was the first season of 7-5 looking like? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
His last season, in my opinion, does not define him as a coach. That's not how that should work. That's not how I feel about him. I think that he was a really good dude, and he gave a lot of second chances, which at some points was not a good thing. But in a lot of points, it was really good to have a coach that would believe in people turning it around. You know what I mean?
I kind of said that about Mr. Ford. Remember I told you, I think I said that about Coach Sims, that I felt at the time he was giving, I think he was kind of almost giving a raw deal because of, you know, some of the stuff that's going on that wasn't being highlighted about BCU at first. And I said he should stay on as coach for the next season. Right. So of course, we already knew. Most times we like, okay, well, he was about to leave. He's about to go.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if he got a raw deal from the school, I think the school is at fault too.
Yeah. Well, 2-9, two consecutive years will get you fired.
True.
That will get you fired.
Sometimes if you get lucky as head coaches, I've seen a couple coaches squeak out. Like look at Dino Babers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Indeed. He got to do something this year. Because did he get a new contract? Did Dino get a new contract?
I believe he did. I mean, look at my old head coach at UTEP. Turned it around, two bowl games in a row.
Well, what's his name?
That's Dana. Oh, jeez.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I forget my own head coach.
Cause he I remember the game that last year y'all played this past season, the season before.
Yeah, they played UTEP. Yeah.
They played UTEP, and it was they only lost by 10.
Yep. Yeah.
What's conference UTEP in?
CUSA West.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there. I forgot my own head coach's name.
Yeah. Yeah, Carson Palmer, and were they connected to UTEP?
Yeah.
He had a brother down there or something?
Who?
Did Carson Palmer have a brother down there working on the staff or something down there?
Jordan. Talking about Jordan. Jordan started doing I think he started doing like QB camps.
Yeah, that's why I knew it was something like that. Yeah.
At UTEP at BCU, which man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's like the way we looking at this. Now I do have the let me put it in here. Mostly everybody like my slideshows, but I do have the actual letter from the school, and then I also have your letter, stating what was, stating how y'all felt as a university, as a student population. So I'm gonna put those on there. And like you said, there was a lot. You said there was a lot of kids that actually felt the way that you felt, like, and we people, you gotta understand. We are these are kids, and I ain't saying kids like they like babies, but they're young men and women that's trying to make their way into, throughout life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'm gonna say it, and that's I'm gonna keep it like that. This is the press release statement from Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman University has announced it has decided not to proceed with contract negotiations with Ed Reed to become the next head football coach at BCU. After undergoing a detailed assessment and view of the state of our football program, we have determined that it is in the best interest of our university athletics program and football student athletes to reopen the search and identify the next leader of Bethune-Cookman Wildcats football. While we appreciate the initial interest in our football program displayed by Mr. Reed during the course of recent weeks, we are also mindful of the qualities and attributes that must be exhibited by our institutional personnel during what have been uniquely Challenging times for our campus as we recover from the impact of 2 hurricanes during this past fall semester. Bethune-Cookman was founded with core guiding principles centered around integrity, accountability, and mutual respect for others. These guiding principles have and will continue to weigh heavily on all decisions made that impact our university. We remain steadfast and committed to building a championship caliber football program that excels on the field, inside the classroom, and within our local community. Our university community has placed the utmost trust and faith in us to continue to advance our institution, and we will continue to strive to live up to the high standards that have been set for all individuals affiliated with our illustrious illustrious university. A national search to fill the football head coaching position at BCU has resumed as the university seeks to identify a permanent replacement in the coming days. That is the press release from Bethune-Cookman. That is the release from Bethune-Cookman. Now, Austin, you said also in the Twitter space that y'all are going to have a protest.
Yeah.
In which, everybody, they are in their legal rights to the right to protest. If they feel like something is wrong, they have that right to protest. Long as it's not violent, it is non-violent, it is cool, calm, and collected.
I'll give you an example of how much Coach Reed actually hit it home with a lot of the kids. Is that you got kids who are suspended for whether or not it's weed or bad grades that came to the ATC where we meet at to talk to Coach Theus and to start, signing the petitions and all that. You got kids that he suspended. Kids that could have just been like, man, screw this, I don't like him no more, all this stuff like that. They came back and they signed the petitions to get him to come back.
If they felt like they was in the wrong, then I mean, if they was in the wrong and they got suspended for it, and they felt like he was trying to make a change for it, then I understand where you're coming from.
Yep. I think that regardless, people are, they really care about Coach Reed, and he's made a big difference for all of us. So I think that we're gonna have this protest, and I hope that it'll matter, because then it really shows that you care about the kids, you care about our voice, and they really should. But I think that it should matter.
Let me say this. Personally, I think that Dr. Charles McClellan and the SWAC staff need to go down to Daytona. Ooh. And it needs to be a fact-finding and an investigation, because this can't go on. They need to make some recommendations to the university, to the administration at Bethune-Cookman, and if they can't follow this stuff, then, to be honest with you, they don't need to be in the SWAC. And so what I'm saying now is that it's very important, because they are SWAC members. One of the things that conference has to do is to make sure that all SWAC schools are treated the same. And so he needs to go down. He needs to take his staff. They need to go on a fact-finding mission. And after that, they need to conduct an investigation. And he needs to give them some things, because this is ridiculous about this home. How can you be a player for a Division I institution and you homeless? That don't go together. There's no way you can generalize that or make that normal. And so this is why I'm saying he's got to go down. He's got to go down there. He needs to go down there as soon as possible. And he's got to do a fact-finding mission down there.
This is the first time I ever heard you said Dr. McClellan telling him to go do his job.
Yeah, he's got this. This is serious. This don't make no sense.
He was the commissioner at the time when Grambling got to his situation too. Because then he go and investigate what was going on at Grambling.
Grambling had to give Jackson 3 games. It was supposed to have been 1 or 2 of those games played at Grambling. All the games were played at Jackson, and all the money went to Jackson. So he basically fined Grambling about $1 million or more because they didn't get anything. He told them they had to play Jackson 3 times in Jackson. But this is, like I said, this don't make no sense. That the meal plan ain't right, and these are Division I athletes. We got to keep in mind now, when we say 1AA football, FCS football, that's Division I.
Yeah, that's the Division I.
Yeah, and so this don't make no sense.
Now I'm gonna tell it like this: people said that Commissioner McClellan don't have no reason to go down to Daytona because
I disagree.
it's
I totally
in-house
disagree.
with Bethune-Cookman as a school, but as a member of the conference,
Yes,
when it comes down to the athletics and the student athletes of the conference, he has a right to do that.
yeah, he needs to go down.
That is set forth in the SWAC bylaws. He has the right to do that. He has a right to go and investigate. If he's not gonna do his due diligence as a commissioner, then why is he commissioner in the first place?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no rules that have been broken. That when you say rules been broken, that's more on an actual NCAA violation right there. We're talking about the safety and the health of the student
well-being of the students. That's right, and they're SWAC players. He represents the schools. He represents the athletes. He represents the coaches. He represents the administration. They have problems. So you mean to tell me you the SWAC commissioner and you can't help solve problems?
Right.
He needs to go down there. He needs to go to Daytona. He needs to meet with the administration, whether it be an interim president. He needs to meet with the athletic director, and he needs to meet with them players. He needs to meet with them. This don't make no sense. I don't know. I know some of y'all would justify anything. This can't be justified.
Yeah. What do you say, Jay Blue? Because I know you've been listening.
I mean, at this point, I'm gonna go back to my earlier statement, not that I've been saying consistently. If a school does not have the funding to field a Division I football team, they may need to drop down to Division II. We got a couple in the SWAC that don't really have the money to have a Division I football team. Let's be real about it. It's 2 of them I can think of on top of my head that probably need to go SIAC.
Yeah, you're gonna say Valley State, huh?
Valley and Cookman.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't have the funding, y'all out here with moldy pads, moldy balls, you know, they can't give y'all the proper amount of money to pay your rent with your stipend and everything. If they just half-assing it, what's the purpose of being Division I?
Right.
Because you're not going to be competitive.
Yeah, and I think I heard something about how scholarships are done. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm on full, but I've heard that some people's scholarships are like you cut them in half and then you let financial aid do the rest or something like that. It's really weird how they do the process. I don't really know. I had a couple of dudes telling me about it on the team. But again, I'm not even really on full. It's like this weird process of like they cut it in half and then they let their financial aid take care of the rest and some grants or something like that.
Yeah, and man, hey Timona, how you doing? She just coming in quietly.
I'm good. I think it's great that the student athlete came on your platform to speak his piece and kind of just put into context all of these issues. I just wanted to ask, why are you guys protesting for the coach, but not when these different issues like the mold or, you know, why was none of these things brought to the forefront with the food and, you know, all of these things that you didn't have? Why did you guys not feel like you had the safety to speak up?
Okay. So for me to speak up in that environment was kind of hard because I was just getting there. But other dudes were kind of in that complacency point where it's like they were beaten down so bad, like they had no spirit really. And it was to the point where it's like, this is just BCU, this is HBCU athletics, this is how it is. And in my head, it's like, no, this isn't how it should be. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just say that. Like, that's just not something you accept. But a lot of the guys wouldn't come together to do that. So now that they kind of got shown what their value really is by Coach Reed, and that, you know, they actually have value as athletes, and, you know, you should be treated like a person, a human being, it's a little different. They have pride now. Like, we all have pride. We have pride in Coach Reed because he showed us how to be a family. Before, we were kind of more splintered. You know what I mean? And we're protesting for the coach because we know he's not going to allow the rest of the ladder that you mentioned. So that's why it's kind of just more protesting for the coach, because we know that with the coach being protested for, and if he can come back, we're not going to have to worry about those things.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from now, because I mean, some people don't, some kids don't have a coach. I mean, understand so that is that passionate. Now, like I said, if there's some things, I mean, rough around the edges. I don't care what anybody say. This is just my opinion right here. And this all opinion from me. Okay. And you know, is there the things that he can work on as far as you know what I'm saying, media presence and everything? Yes, there's a lot of things to work on. But do we know how he is, if he's going to be an X's and O's guy? We don't know, because he hasn't gotten that opportunity to do it.
I mean, he's coached at Miami.
Yeah, he was coaching, but what I'm saying is, like,
coached for years.
Yeah, he was coaching for years, but what I'm saying is, has he put his stamp, like, as far as leading y'all, you know what I'm saying, on the field? That's okay. My whole thing.
I can give you an example. Because I was working out on the practice field with one of the QBs and a receiver, and he just walked out, just out the blue. We had no idea he was there. He just, you know, came up like he was behind a bush or something, just came out of nowhere. And he started talking to us and just started immediately, like, went from talking to coaching. You know, like, correcting my stance, like he broke down everything I thought that I was doing really well, just broke it down to like a microcosm, just started breaking me down. I was like, damn, I was like, all right, so I got a lot of shit to work on. And same thing with the quarterback, same thing with the receiver. Like, he was showing us so much and it was all hands-on stuff, which I love hands-on coaching since I've been around. Like, any coaches that are hands-on, that's the kind of coach that I like. I like to be able to see everything done in front of me by the coach, or like him just telling me how he wants me to do my placement and my stance and all that stuff. But that's the type of coach he is. He's very hands-on. He's very, you know, take the bull by the horns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how he is, and that's a good thing, because we were going to really play with a pro-style offense from what I did know. So, you know, me as a tight end, that makes my job a lot more fun, because I love to block. But it also makes it fun because it makes it easier on play actions and stuff like that. You're getting a couple of long balls if you get lucky. But that's really how he coaches it. From what I saw offensively, I didn't get to see him defensively coach.
Right. And another thing, I say this. I'm gonna say it like this. Ed Reed has plenty of people that he has learned from.
Mm-hmm.
And his main person that he learned from was Butch Davis when he was at University of Miami. And the way he said, the way Butch Davis is that he could be on one side of the field, on one field, coaching defense, and he could look at the offensive side of the field and go over there and say, hey, you doing this wrong. And then he had it to where like people tightened up.
Mm-hmm.
Like he, the way that he said it was they ran the practice because they was like, if you ain't on board with Coach Davis, then you don't need to be playing for the University of Miami. That's how he said it. To me, it's how he said it, and that's how he put it. He also learned from Brian Billick in the NFL. He had a certain way of being diplomatic. And if it comes down to it, like the rant, I don't know. I can't say and sit here and say, well, when he was on the live where he ranted about people say you won't do this to your job and stuff like that. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate, y'all.
Shoot.
We not gonna do that. I'm just be honest with you. Because it's that fear of if I say this, I'm gonna lose my job. And when I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna lose this, that, and the third. And it goes to I be wanting to tell my bosses, like, man, you know what? F this job. You're not doing this for me. You're not gonna do this for me. You're not paying me enough. I be wanting to say that sometimes too, but I'm not, in good sense, you're not gonna do it. You get what I'm saying? You're not gonna do it. We because we just not. We just not. Most people is not built like that.
Yeah,
we not. But like I said, in certain things, was he right for saying things about what was BCU going on? He kind of was right. And the right was going to be on the wall because if he didn't say it, somebody else would have said it too.
Yeah.
I think there's just a way that you go about putting that information out. It's always a way that you put it out. Deion Sanders, he addressed some of these issues, and the way that he put it out, like for instance, when there was water issues, he was on a golf cart and he said, my players, they don't have correct water pressure. Water pressure means that they don't have air conditioning.
It wasn't just the water pressure though either. Like they had like really bad pipes. I think they had like it was like black water almost. We had a dude who went there and he was telling me about it. It was like really bad.
Right. And so the way that he let that be known is my kids can't stay like this. We have to get them relocated. And some calls were made and everything was paid for those student athletes to stay off campus. But once again, there's a way that you go about doing it. If Ed Reed would have said, my players don't have the correct gear, my players don't have their own helmets, the state of the uniforms that they have are not up to par. Don't you know if he would have said it like that, you will attract more bees with honey than vinegar. So his approach was just off-putting.
Okay.
And then it's embarrassing. And so if he would have maybe got that information out in a different format, they probably would have had no issues with him still being the head coach, because you're exposing these issues, but you're doing it in a gentle way. Because the way that he did it, it's just, when you're talking about it, you're giving us an educated, you're not like bashing the university, you're just exposing your experience. And so now that I hear it and I hear it from you, and I'm thinking, wow, I cannot imagine having to deal with that type of thing. and having to endure and not be able to speak out, and then somebody comes over here and they speak up for me, of course I'm going to feel like finally somebody's here to speak up
you
about
get
what I'm
it. You
going
get
through.
it. Because we've kind of like we drop like little hints as players. Like I've seen some guys like say some stuff on Twitter, like just dropping little stuff like, "Hey, this school is not treating us right." Just here and there. I won't name players, but like some guys have said stuff, and just for like because it always falls on deaf ears, or like people are just like, "Oh, suck it up," type of stuff. Then to have him say it like that and have some meaning to it, and then it really shakes people up, that's kind of, we're like, oh God, we got results. You know what I mean?
Now, somebody just asked me, like, what can we do to support you guys? Now, the first time I tell you this, because he's still a student athlete, he cannot drop his Cash App name or nothing like that, because if that happens, we are considered boosters. We're not trying to get my guys in hot water with the NCAA. Now, what
I'd have to sign a deal with y'all to do that for the
right.
NIL.
It has to be like an NIL collective.
Yeah.
So what we can do is, I can, if you got Cash App me, and me and my wife, we'll find a way to where this money gets to not just him, but to y'all on the football team.
Yep.
So I will drop. I'm gonna drop this Cash App in the. I'm gonna drop my Cash App tag in the chat, but that is the way that you can do that. We could crowdfund this, and basically we could get stuff done, and we could get it done in the right way, and we could get it done, being civil and not being nasty and messy. So that's my whole thing about that. Another thing, and I'm gonna go back to my disclaimer, y'all. This is not a HBCU thing. This is just a Bethune-Cookman thing.
And maybe a Mississippi Valley State thing.
Let's get that straight. And if you got some disrespectful
and
stuff,
it's not just a Bethune thing either. It's not just Bethune that's had molded issues.
Right.
That's why I'm saying
not to talk bad about his experience or discount his experience, but Georgia, who we all know they have money, they have complained about mold. And I don't know if maybe the location that Bethune is in, like so close to the water, I don't know if that would contribute to.
You'd imagine that would, probably.
But Arizona State had mold. North Carolina A&T said they had mold. University
Harvard
of
had mold and
Minnesota.
roaches.
Yep. Apparently,
San Diego State
well.
had mold. So some of these issues, Vanderbilt University had mold, and mind you, these are all in 2022 that these universities have mold, because you have to understand there's a certain level of maintenance that has to be done to these campus dorms. And so once again, not to just continue to press this narrative, but a lot of the issues at HBCUs, they happen at PWIs, but because of underfunding, lack of staff, it's exacerbated. So our problems are magnified by the fact that there's underfunding.
That's understandable. Like and that's true. That's understandable, and that's the reason why we have these talks, these spaces, these, you know what I'm saying, doing this right here, because we can say all this and all that, but if you ain't putting purpose into action, then it's a lost cause.
That's why we're protesting, man. Obviously that's why we're gonna go do community service tomorrow first, and kind of get that out of the way, and just keep the tradition alive that Coach Reed put into play first. Show everybody that we're still committed to that tradition. that way that he taught us. And we're gonna have a personal meeting as well, with just us as a team, no coaches, just us, kind of talk it out, and then we're gonna protest on Monday.
Hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy, DeJuan Jameson, man. He sent me $50. He been hitting me up on Twitter, because he understand what you went through, Austin, as far as the homelessness and everything, and he's understanding that not only because being an athlete, but this being a HBCU thing, because being Bethune-Cookman thing, and he went to a HBCU at Jackson State. Yeah. It all runs in. So, like, I'm saying this to everybody in the chat: if you got $10, $20, you could do $5, you could do $30 or $40 or $50 in cash app, then all this, we can get this going on. I'm gonna get my guy Randy up in here. Randy,
what's happening, y'all?
What's going on, Randy?
Hey, not much, man. I just did I just hear that you all didn't have your own helmets? Like, was a helmet shortage?
We had to share them. You can see in Miami, we had to share helmets. That was kind of a viral thing that went around a little bit.
Oh wow, man! Wow.
Who is it? Is it Adidas or Nike? Who is your?
They're Nike.
Nike?
Yeah, that doesn't resolve the helmet issue. That's more ride down.
No, I'm just speaking from a standpoint of I'm wondering if Nike, or if you switch to Under Armour, I'm wondering if some of these different places can get adequate attire.
But that's just uniform, so it's
I remember that because at ULM, I noticed that Adidas really they always gave a lot more gear than like Nike or Under Armour, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I feel like we got more gear weekly from Adidas usually.
Let me get this one right here. This statement right here. Community service. I don't care if you a student athlete or a regular student, y'all. If you at a school, man, community service should be a top priority on your list. Mm-hmm. Not saying to join, not just to join an organization, but just to have love for the community that your school is in. That is what community that they should do. Like, because community service, if the student athlete is going out there, not just saying to pick up trash, but your community service can go and visit an elementary school, a middle school, a high school, a nursing home, an orphanage, or or a homeless shelter, anything that has them serving the community, because you got to understand the student athletes are still the face of the university.
And not only that, we're not better than anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, that's not that, because that's like the kind of narrative, kind of what I felt like he was kind of pushing out there. Like, we didn't need to do that because we're student athletes. Like, we can do that. There's no problem with that. We're human beings too. You know what I mean? Like, there's no problem with us doing it. I'm cool with making a culture like that, because then you kind of like.
This is the narrative, and this is the narrative I don't like right here. You going to school to do work and going home. Okay,
that's not the.
Go to school, do work, and go home. We're not forcing you to do that. Community service is giving your time. And Mr. Ford, you can agree with me on this, Mr. Ford. Community service is about being grateful and being thankful for the people that you serve in your respective, wherever you are.
Yeah, well, most schools now, that's a part of the curriculum. You got to have so many hours of community service to get a high school diploma, to get a college degree. You got to show, and a lot of these schools are serious about it. You got to show that you've done community service throughout the years you're at the institution. They don't play with that anymore. That's not an option. I know the last high school I worked in, they had to do so many hours of community service to get their diplomas.
Right. And my thing is, and here's a whole nother thing about this, because of the simple fact that you not gonna go with giving him a contract. Now you back to square one. You back to square one trying to find out who's going to be the coach of the football team. How can he retain the recruits that? Because you said it was 20.
The problem
you said it was
that
26 recruits.
There's no reason. Yeah, the 26. That's done. You can throw that out the window right now. The 26 recruits, because they got to see what happened today. You know, but like we as student athletes, I know a lot of the guys on the team don't even want to play unless Coach Reed is the coach. Like that's a part of like the protest, the boycott, is that, you know, you bring them back here, we're not going to play for you.
Wow.
Yeah, we got a big issue here. He called when he was explaining to you about the mold and all that. That's bigger than athletics.
Yep.
See what's going to happen here if Bethune doesn't get this situation correct. SWAC is going to come in and they're going to decertify that school because what they're going to say is that, number one, their financial piece is not in order. They will take your accreditation now if they say that your financial piece is not in order. This is bigger than athletics right here. I was listening to him, and I'm telling you that stuff that he was saying about mold and they got to share helmet. They got to share helmets. That's unsanitary.
Mm-hmm.
And so, listen, I'm just telling y'all, see, I've been around SWAC, the Southern Association for the Accreditation of Colleges and High Schools. See this stuff right here, what he's telling you? This will get the school shut down, I'm telling you. See, this is how Marsh Brown lost their accreditation. What he's telling you right there. That's how Marsh Brown, see, it started out like it was supposed to be an athletic program, an athletic problem. But it was bigger than that. And so that's why I'm saying that, and I'm going to reiterate this again. Dr. McClellan and them got to go to Daytona. He got to take his staff down there. They've got to first do the investigation, okay? And then they got to put on paper the things that Bethune has to do as far as their athletic department. And if they don't meet it, Dr. McClellan and them got to make a move. Because I'm telling you now, SWAC will come in and shut that school down. And the number one thing they'll say is their financial papers are not in order. I'm telling you. Yeah. This is bigger than athletics. This is bigger than athletics.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, I didn't know this.
I'm not trying to go into different. I'm staying in my lane of football.
Yeah. But what you said
my
about
question is, though, Mr. Ford, my question is this, which I do not think that they should be trying to get them out of the SWAC or doing
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying.
What is the timeline for that? Because FEMA has not even released funds. They just had 2 hurricanes.
Right.
So let's just putting in perspective, if McClellan does go down there,
he needs to.
What are you going to attribute to just bad administration and lack of funding? And how are you going to bring solvency? Because cussing and calling people MFers is not going to bring solvency. So how can we solve this issue?
But that's just
but here's the thing. The first thing he has to do, Dr. McClellan has to meet with the administration. When I say administration, whether you got an interim president, CFO, board of trustee, you got to meet with them. Then you got to meet with Reggie Theos. You got to meet with the athletic director. Then after you meet with the athletic director and the coaches, you got to meet with them players. You got to see that these people are following all of them bylaws and everything, because SWAC has bylaws. And I'm going to be honest with you, from what this young man is saying, some things are not being done.
Yeah.
I mean, let me answer the one question, because I see D-Lob is asking a lot of questions in the chat. And he's asking about the helmet situation. I see that You have a lot of faith in the school or in our equipment management. There was a shortage in helmets. So what happens is they buy all these different uni combos and helmet combos, but they end up not having enough for us to travel.
Everybody.
You know what I mean? They don't have enough. Now for the yellow ones we was straight. For the silver ones, no. For the burgundy ones, no. For the all chrome ones, no. Every other one that wasn't yellow, no. Like that's just is what it is. And we were sharing helmets, and that happened every once in a while. Like if one broke, even in cases with one broke, like we wouldn't have an extra, so we had to share helmets. And I believe that happened in Alcorn State, maybe. I don't know. I just remember specifically Miami was the big one.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. But that's crazy. Though,
Be careful, man. Be careful about what you. I mean, you're a student there, right? I mean, you playing there now?
Yeah, I'm playing there. I'm playing.
All right. Be careful. Be careful.
I get what you're saying, Randy.
Yeah,
I truly get what you're saying.
You're still a student, bro.
I mean, I'm about to graduate. I'm just making the public aware, and that's it. I'm not saying that's why I didn't want to dip into no financial anything like that. That's not my place. It's just for me, it's just football. Like what we need to fix in football is all that I'll really worry about. Whatever the school's got to fix, they fix that. You know what I mean? Right. Hopefully the protest helps make that more of an awareness that we can, we can fix this stuff. But I'm just here for the football stuff. That's it. I'm not here to say this school did this, the school did that. I'm saying that football, I experienced this. This is what's happening.
Right.
Need to fix it. That's it. Just to make football better. I know that the other sports are struggling in some areas too. So that's why I liked Coach Reed so much, because he paid attention to everyone, not just football. He cared about everyone else. He was trying to build a track for the track team, because we only have one little track strip thing, and that's it for them to practice.
Yeah, I've seen it in the video.
I saw that, man.
Yeah. Like, we don't have a full track circle at all. Like they do. I think they do like triple jump into like a giant, just like a big pile of sand, like on the side of that small strip. Crazy. Like I was running on it. I was running on it yesterday. I was running 100, and like it's just crazy how underfunded things are. That's really it. Like I just wish that we had a little more, so that we could be a little more comfortable practicing and stuff like that. That's it.
Can I ask a question? I mean, this is for everybody.
You can, yeah.
The allocation of monies, how is that broken down as far as like it coming from the federal government to the state to the schools?
Hey, on this one though, Randy, because Bethune-Cookman is a private institution, they don't get federal funding from the. They don't get state funding.
None.
But Bethune has received some money from they have received federal funding. I want to say it was $13 million a year. I'm going to pull up that actual article. So it does look like Bethune could request federal and state level money. Now, whether or not they actually have is a different story.
Bethune does get a little state money. It's not a lot. Normally it's like around maybe $5 or $6 million, at least when I was there, because we actually took like 4 or 5 busloads of students to, I guess it was like BCU Day on the Hill for lobbying or whatnot. And so I believe that year they received like $6 million from the state. So it's not like a lot of money from the state.
Yeah, that has to change, man, because, I know the old way is you fund it through the amount of students, but that has to change. I mean, like it should be funded towards need. You know what I'm saying? Instead of this old way, you got X amount of students, so you get X amount of money. I mean, that can't be anymore. That's the type of stuff I think should be changed, or be, I don't know, man. I just hate to see my people struggle, man. That burns me up, man.
I mean, we're okay. We're okay. We just need to, we're gonna come together as a team and just kind of work it out and hopefully come together as a community. Just as these students on Monday and just kind of bring it full circle. It's just about just better treatment. That's literally all we're asking for. It's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? I don't want to make it seem like, oh, we're out to get the school. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're just here.
No.
We're trying to just get Coach Reed back. That's who was treating us well and that we were really comfortable with. We bonded with him really well. And that's a missed opportunity if we don't get him back. You know what I mean?
Now, it's something that my wife just asked. Can they file a grievance, J Blue, as far as the conditions of the school?
File a grievance with who?
Can they file a grievance with I don't know because now it's not state supported.
Yeah, they would file agreement with SWAC.
Okay,
that's where you get your accreditation from. Because see, if they file agreement and SWAC comes down there, I'm telling y'all. See, that's Mars Brown. What SWAC will do, they will snatch their accreditation. No student on Bethune-Cookman's campus will be able to get federal funds. This is serious.
So then maybe they should just do away with the football team for right now, or until they can restructure or have enough funding to properly take care of these students. But to say that you should just shut down the whole school.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, hold on.
Wait a minute. You said what? Football. Let's not do that. Hold your horses.
we understand where I was coming from. Like, look, you want to play, but the thing is, we looking at it, like you said, because I understand where you're coming from, because you are a student athlete. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Football is your love. Football is your passion.
Yeah.
But where we coming from.
Yeah, I can't touch that avenue. I'm not touching that with a
in the sense of that is because of like, look, and this is what I said.
Back. That's it.
This is what I said as far as what I said on Wednesday. Bethune-Cookman, you got to get your affairs in order. It's just like Mr. Ford said, if you don't get your affairs in order, SWAC, they'll be down there if they want.
What I meant was to ask for a 1-year time where they can restructure the football program.
I got
you. So that they can get the funding, the proper helmets, to get everything in order. Because you're talking about just removing the funding from all students at Bethune-Cookman. They can, the same way that they decided to forego for COVID, they decided to forego a season. You don't want to lose your whole school and everything. What you need to do is forego on football, forego one season, and then you'll be able to restructure the program, get the things that they need to properly actually do the have the athletes. They have proper uniforms. They have the helmets. Restructure it so that maybe by that time you'll have a field done. You'll have the track done, and take this year off because you don't want to lose funding for the whole school.
So, Mr. Mona, now from what you just said, don't you understand why Dr. McClellan got to go down there?
He got to go down there.
He got to go down. Because, see, one of the things that's got to be determined is how much money does the SWAC office need to give Bethune? They got to help them out.
Mm-hmm. I would think that number one, because they're saying I would switch from Nike to Under Armour.
Why?
Yeah. Because I don't know if you've had a chance to actually see the Under Armour and the owner, and when he comes to Jackson State, but I think he would be more aligned to helping out with the uniforms and his. I don't know if you've ever seen him talk, but he seems like somebody that would be more willing to maybe help out a lot more than maybe a Nike.
You guys with Nike?
We are, we're in.
Yeah, so you probably need to reach out to Nike.
I mean, he's an Under Armour.
And he might have came because of Dion, but he is still there. They just received new shoes last week. Jackson State received some new shoes post prime. They were opening them up on Jackson, on one of the student athletes YouTube. So there's still a relationship there. It's still an Under Armour school.
Yeah.
So once again, if we're talking about building a relationship, and the student athlete did say that Under Armour seems to provide more uniforms and stuff, maybe build a different relationship.
Now I got a question. This is a question right here, and this is coming from my executive producer, my wife. She asked, "Is this just only a football issue, or are there other sports programs that are suffering the way that y'all suffering about, like what's going on with like the facilities and stuff like that?" And
I can't answer that fully.
Okay.
Really, because like I just know that some people aren't as equipped, as they should be. It'd be nice to get a new gym for us. That'd be really nice, just as a school upgrade. We got basically like a middle school gym, so like it'd be nice to get that so that we could, for volleyball and basketball and just that type of stuff. And then just with the track thing, same thing. But other than that.
I would say the financial footing of the institution, it's a overall institutional problem, not just athletics, the whole school.
Right. So, hey, Austin, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, because I'm gonna make this part of the show solely about BCU.
I was about to take my leave anyways, and bow out here. I appreciate you for having me on.
Good luck, man.
If any of y'all live in the Daytona area, we don't need money or anything like that. We just need people to come to the protest, and we would appreciate the support. That's really it. If you want to do some community service with us, feel free. Tomorrow we're meeting at 10:50.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on, bro. Thanks for telling me about the story and everything, man. I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter a little bit later, man.
All right, I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Hey, I know that kid had a whole bunch. He had a lot to say. He definitely had a lot to say. Now we about to get into the nitty-gritty of this whole thing right here. What's up with the school? Like that's the main thing. And I understand where he's coming from, because like he said, he's putting it in the perspective of a football player, in this perspective of the football team. What's up? What is the school doing? And this is what and Mama Body, this is what he just said. What do the football athletes do? Like, they're going out there, they're giving their constitutional rights to protest peacefully. And that's what they're doing. They're doing their due diligence. So I, on that note, what he's doing, I commend him. I'm gonna commend him regardless of the fact. But now we in here, y'all. We in here, and we all need to know what the hell is going on at Bethune-Cookman. What are they doing? What is this board of trustees doing? What is the president doing? What is the athletic director / basketball coach doing? What is it? I don't know.
Right now he's coaching basketball, trying to win. But we've had multiple changes in the at the top. So they have an interim president, and they have a lot of high turnover. Usually there's a lot of high turnover when there's a lot of complacency, as you could say, when there's a lot of things going on and you sit down at your desk and it's your first day and you get hit with 20 different issues and you just started. Like, that's how high turnover happens. So at this point, and they're currently fighting for funds from FEMA, I don't want to see all of the students not be able to get financial aid because of the mold situation.
All right, I'm gonna hold on before we go continue. Hey, anybody in the chat, if you feel slighted that my guest is speaking her piece, and she's giving her opinion on there, and if you don't like what she got to say, you can kindly remove yourself from this stream. I do not care.
I mean, they can call in, but I just didn't want because Mr. Ford, he was pointing out that if they lose their accreditation, then no students will be able
Right.
to
No,
get
yeah.
federal funding.
Right.
So we just need to take a step back. If we're talking, if it's going to be between you losing your accreditation, losing your funding, then by all means request for a 1-year waiver for the football and get the football straight. And then the SWAC needs to give them a deadline. You have until January or until the day that you get your FEMA funds to get X, Y, and Z into order, because they have to deal with all these cracked buildings and the mold. Oh my God, I'm pretty sure that the mold in those cracked buildings is probably ridiculous. And in a lot of buildings, it's probably like exponentially bad because of all of the infrastructure issues. That mold is probably outrageous. So I like that he's in a good place as far as protesting. And I do think that they have a right to protest. And I know that Ed Reed was upset, but I still will stand by my statement that cussing and exposing the administration like that was not the way to go.
I hate that, Doc. I hate to beat a dead horse right here.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this again because it just sounds what that young man was telling us. That sounds like Morris Brown again.
You
But
do.
see, when the problem started with Morris Brown, it started out as a band issue and a football issue, and it was about funding, about scholarships. Okay, some kind of way, somebody contacted SACS. SACS not only took their accreditation, they brought the authorities in.
Mm-hmm.
People went to jail. Okay, it took them over 20 years to get their, I mean, they just got their accreditation back, I think, this year. Somebody, if you don't hear from it, last year.
Yeah, last year.
I'm telling you, it took them over 20 years to get it back.
And
And
if
I'm
you
telling
really,
you, if Bethune don't get their financial stuff in order, SACS will come in and close them down. They will take their accreditation.
and the
That's
same
why I'm
thing,
saying it's bigger than sports. It's bigger than just the athletic department.
and
They
that's
got a serious, they got a problem.
and I'm gonna tell you just like this, Mr. Ford. I'm gonna bring my guy D Pandy on here. This sounds just like when Bishop College, when they was here in Dallas, that they had to shut down. They lost their accreditation.
Yeah,
They share
serious.
a whole.
This is serious. And we don't need to lose no HBCUs. We done lost enough. We don't need to lose no more.
What's up, D man? What's going on, man?
Man, what's going on? What's going on with y'all? Can y'all hear me good? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we good, man.
Okay. Yeah, man. So I had wanted to comment on it, man, because for one, I was born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, right?
Okay.
And so I've been talking about this issue, with a lot of people on my Facebook or whatnot for like the last, week and everything like that. And for one, I remember when Timona, she was talking about, she said in the comment section, she said, "What do you mean that it could be a problem with the city?" Well, one thing about Cookman and Daytona is that there are a lot of abandoned buildings around that area. Like if you ever have went to like Daytona, especially within that part of town called Newtown, there are a lot of buildings that are not being used. So some of it is owned by Cookman. Some of it, from what I've heard before, is that it's owned by other investors who have not been able to do anything with it at all. Like, and I hate to say it because it's my own city, but Daytona looks like 2008. It has made no progress since then. And so there are a lot of things that are wrong with Cookman. There are a lot of things that are wrong with certain parts of the city that that doesn't support Cookman. And I remember, and this is one of the talks that I've had before with some of my friends. I went to Mainland High School, and Mainland High School is a great high school within the Daytona Beach region. We produce a lot of great talent. Of course, everybody knows Vince Carter came out of Daytona Beach Mainland High School, but we also have created a lot of good football talent too as well. But the thing is that just outside of just football and just athletics, just on a basic academic level, I have never seen Bethune-Cookman. And again, this is just me, but I haven't seen Bethune-Cookman put on an actual recruitment fair for its own Daytona Beach natives.
Hey, I got a question though for you.
Go ahead.
Ms. Coleman asked a question. Did Bethune-Cookman have the prior issues? I mean, these issues prior to the 2 hurricanes that came through?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is that people forget about the fact that Cookman was having issues with their dorms because of the fact that they had made some new dorms, but they didn't have enough money to pay the actual contractors. So that was that. They said there's a lawsuit out for that.
Right.
Cookman still doesn't have a president right now. They haven't had a president for the last 4 or 5 years. It really is that board of trustees that has to go, and everybody knows that. So Cookman has had this issue for years. I have family members who have worked for Cookman who they know that there's a lot of crazy issues that goes on there. I even have a friend who even taught at Cookman, and he loves it. I mean he loves Cookman because of course again he's from Daytona. He didn't get his degree from Bethune-Cookman, but the fact that he was a professor there, he was just saying how he went through the struggles of, getting proper things done through human resources. So of course he has his heart attached to it, but I'm all about kind of like what Yana Van Zant saying, like let's call a thing a thing. Like if it's hard times, there things have got to change.
Right. So I'm a go with what some people are saying. People saying where's the money's going to. I mean, well, you gotta understand when you're dealing with money at a HBCU at just said school, you have to allocate those funds to different parts of your university. So it just don't go into athlete. It don't get earmarked into unless it says we take this part right here. If I'm gonna give a check to Bethune-Cookman and on that line where it says not but the memo, if it don't say the athletic department on the memo, guess where it's going? It's going into the general fund.
But I get what you're saying, right? And I understand that. But we also have to look at certain things of why we also have to look at why certain things happen. Like why did Dr. Lynn Thompson, who was the longest running athletic director in all of HBCUs, up and just leave in the middle of COVID? Like something had to go. And at the same time, there were funds that was being taken out of the athletic department and probably transferred over to the general funds. But the thing is that maybe if I was the AD, right, and there are some funds that are taken out of the athletic department that I know I need, that that I need in order to run a successful athletic program, and you say, well, we need it for general funds. The first thing you're going to do is, what's going on with general funds? Like, why can't general funds have their ducks in order the same way that I'm running the athletic department?
Right.
Like, that's a big red flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, you have the longest running athletic director ever in HBCU sports. This is during the Alvin Wyatt era. This is during the Brian Jenkins era, and also the Terry Sims era. And people forget that Terry Sims was an actual legit good coach during their last part of the MEAC.
Right. Hey, Mr. Ford. It's just what we said. Me, you, and Jay Blue said this on Wednesday. Once Lynn Thompson walked out the door,
he's one of the best. He's not only was he one of the best in HBCU, he's one of the best in the country.
I went to school with his daughter. His daughter went to Mailer High School.
That's right. He's one of the best. Now, I think he gave it up because they slashed the budget.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think what they did was, they brought Reggie Theus in on the low, and then gave him 2 jobs, which is unheard of. Gave him the AD job and the head basketball job. To me, that's too much.
Yeah,
that's 2 separate jobs.
Way too much.
But after they slashed the budget, I think that's why Lynn decided to retire.
Correct.
But he's been
Correct.
one of the best ADs in the country, not just
Mhm.
HBCUs. He's one of the best in the country because
And
he
then
does so much with so little.
right,
Yeah.
right, and that's the thing is and that's one of the things that I've been talking with my wife and with my other friends is that there's a lot of things that Cookman lack, but some of the stuff is fixable, right? Like one of the things that I've always wondered about is who is running their marketing, like who is actually marketing Cookman because again, I'm from Daytona Beach. And every time that it was a chance for me to hear about something about Cookman, it was always something bad. But I always thought that maybe if Cookman would have had like an actual recruitment fair at the local high schools, right? To say, hey, we know you heard about the bad things, but hey, here's some good positive things about it. They have a great nursing program, but that's not even being marketed correctly. Students will actually rather go to the community college that's in Daytona and get a 2 year degree to be a registered nurse, then they get a 4 year degree to get a Bachelor of Science in nursing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. Like you're a HBCU that's in Florida, that's on the world's most famous beach. You have
Right.
NASCAR here. WCW back in the day used to have Bash on the beach here.
Yep.
Like you have all of these ways that you can actually market the school to be the best school. I mean, even if you don't want to look at it, even if you just want to look at what has transpired in this last 3 weeks or a month, however you want to say it,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't even bring in Ed Reed correctly. Like I
Right.
had heard about the hiring through Facebook, right? Like he
That's
didn't
crazy.
get the
That's crazy.
everybody heard, and even when I heard about it, I said, "Is this true?" Like it was kind of like one of the things, like what? Like he here? Like you know what I'm
I heard about it, man. I heard about the hiring dude on Twitter. I think me
saying?
and
Right.
Timon, we heard about it on Twitter though, right? Because I
Yeah, it was
think
like a Bethune-Cookman released a statement, but there's a lot of talk about maybe they should have waited to make that type of announcement until after
I
the
agree.
contract is signed. I
Yeah.
would
I
venture
agree.
to say that Bethune-Cookman, based off of the amount of issues that they had and based off of the fact that they were not ready to give all of the resources that he was asking for in his contract,
Hmm.
and based off of how he reacted because of his office not being clean and him being frustrated about the issues, I would venture to say that they actually dodged a bullet. Because can you imagine if you actually had him? I know that they wanted to see changes done, but I
Hmm.
cannot imagine having a signed contract and having to deal with him having outbursts every single day about the different issues at Bethune. Like
honestly,
they
Well,
should have
well,
never.
okay.
hold on before you go. Hey, Christopher the Lawful. If you feel like this is just about football in the school, you are sorely mistaken, bro. So, with that being said, if there's any moderators in the chat right now, can y'all please get rid of this guy right here because he killing my vibe right now, and we trying to come up with solutions to try to get this going. Because if not, you know what? You could be an internet thug. You could be an internet thug on any other day, just not today.
I just
So
wonder, when did these issues take? Like, has it been years? Because from what I heard about the history, you guys were saying that it was a.
Well, okay. So when it comes to the mold, I haven't heard any recent issues about mold, right? Like that's something that's kind of like new. But I'm gonna say that that wouldn't be something that surprised me, dealing with all the other issues that they've had before. So for me, I'm going to say just in the recent years, I think that I saw I guess the fall of Cookman, for lack of a better word. I think I saw the fall of Cookman starting to happen when they brought Betsy DeVoe in for graduation at the Cookman.
and terminate.
That was
Big fact.
Jackson. That was President Jackson, wasn't
And
it?
that was up under President Jackson. Yes, President
Yeah.
Jackson
Yeah.
brought Betsy DeVoe, who was the Secretary of Education, up under one of the craziest. presidential administrations. And at the time, and the students were at that time, they had, they was not for it at all. Even at the actual commencement, he was saying that if you guys continue within this manner, then I will not mail you your degrees. So I think that's when that all happened. But again, that just goes to the fact that Pittman has not had a steady president at their actual school too as well. Like for me, I'm an alumni of North Carolina A&T, right? And
Right.
so that's the thing is like people ask me, well, Pandy, why did you go all the way to A&T and not when you could have went to Pittman? And that's a good legit question. But the thing that like I said before, I've never heard anything good about Pittman. And then the thing is that of course, yeah, A&T is a public institution, and Pittman is private, so it will have its problems. But at the same time, A&T knows how to put good people in certain places. Like
Well,
not Dr.
I want to
You go.
address Mr.
You about to
Mr.
get
Mona.
Mr. Ford started.
Go ahead,
Mr. Mona. No,
Look, listen,
Mr. Mona.
listen.
No.
I know
I'm
Mr.
saying,
Ford is not a fan of Earl Hinton, but go ahead,
but
go ahead.
listen, I was going to say to Mr. Mona, you said you think they dodged the bullet. I don't know.
I don't
Because
think they
I'm
dodged the
telling you
bullet.
now, if Sachs comes in, see, they closed
Are they going to
Knoxville.
call Sachs back? Because the Sachs just left in 2022. They're
Right.
going to call them right back.
Anytime if they declare that you're on unsound financial footing, they coming back. Because
That's fact.
Well,
listen, let me say this. That's how they got Knoxville College financial footing.
Mm-hmm.
That they actually went after Payne College and was about to put Payne out, but Payne was able to clear the ledge as far as their financial footing. So that's why I'm saying I don't know if I'm not BCC, but BCU has dodged the bullet yet. I don't know.
Look, can I respond to that too as well? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Simona. Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason why I said that is because the way that he's exposing them is like, I don't know if you see Twitter, but there's so many NFL players that are literally berating Bethune. Like, not even Bethune. They're just like, HBCUs aren't shit. HBCUs are dirty. They don't deserve somebody like Ed Reed. Like, they dodged a bullet because I'm thinking that as far as like the issues that are going on within a week or two, Ed Reed will be out of the picture. And then, like you said, the SWAC can come down there
mm-hmm.
but it needs to be more so as in the mayor, like FEMA.
Right.
We're not
yeah,
even holding. You want to hold the people accountable. All these people who said that they wanted to donate,
You're right.
you don't have to donate money. Buy the helmets, buy the uniforms, pay the people directly for the field. Quit saying, oh, we don't know what they're going to do with the money. You buy it directly. If you really are serious about what you said, which is, I don't want the kids to go through this, then you send that money directly to the contractor. You pay these people, and that way you know where your money went because you paid them directly.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Randy.
Is it because it's a private institution that there's literally no money to even deal with? Is that the issue, or is it something else?
No,
They
no,
don't have to. Their financial records aren't public.
Public.
well,
Like,
let me just say this. I would say in the last 7 to 8 years, our Black private schools are having some major financial problems. Now, of course, I'm not talking about Spelman College. I'm not talking about Hampton. I'm not talking about Howard University. But I'm talking about the rank and file private Black universities. Listen, I remember 2 years ago, there was an article written about Morehouse. They was talking about furloughing teachers. And Oprah Winfrey came down. She was invited down here by, what's the director's name? Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry had something for Cicely Tyson. Somebody got to Oprah and said, listen, Morehouse is having problems. She wrote a $25 million check on the spot. So I'm just trying to tell you, the majority of our rank and file Black private universities are having financial problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
They
I
are
Let me
would.
go
having
ahead.
problems.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
would
go
agree
ahead
with
and
that.
get in there real quick.
Because they're
Oh,
private institutions, they're not held accountable as far as like being exposed. Like
Yeah.
if it's a public institution, you can get audited. All of the spending and stuff, it's public information. Like you can do a public request and they have to account for every dollar.
right.
So because Bethune-Cookman is a private institution, and we also, yes, there was some corruption maybe or administration error, and they have lack of funding.
Yeah.
They must not have anybody writing grants. Like, where is your money coming from?
Yeah. Oh,
Here's
Well,
okay.
the whole thing.
let me get in there
And
real
here,
quick.
go
Let me
ahead,
get in
Jay.
there real quick.
Go ahead.
So I put in a in the private chat a
Let me get
report
that.
of
Let me get that.
enrollment. So that's in there for enrollment. So just to look at the enrollment as far as 2022 in spring, they only had 2,444 students total enrolled.
That's
Yes.
When
down.
I was
Okay.
That's
So
down.
working there,
Because
yeah,
at
when I
one
was
time they
working,
had 4,000.
yes,
it's
when I
no
was
money.
working there in 2015, we had 4,200 students.
That's right. They down.
So when you drop down that much in enrollment,
Yeah.
it's depleting your general fund. So
Right.
that's one
It's
of the
nothing to
reasons,
work
the
with.
main reasons
Right.
they don't have money in their budget.
Right. Okay.
And why don't
So
they have, if they only have 2,400 students, why do they not have housing?
Because
I mean, because my whole thing is, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at what he's saying. I'm trying to send it over to this page, but I'm gonna send this over for everybody to actually see, and I'm putting in the chat. That way we can all see this. Y'all can all see this, and not say that nobody don't know. And I'm not saying you get your own assessment, but
yeah, some got to change, man.
another my thing.
I put it on there so you can.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm about to say, yeah. I was trying to put it on there. Yeah, y'all still gotta understand. I'm still working this thing, but
And keeping in mind that this is spring 2020, so this is in the height of COVID.
COVID, yeah.
And so it looks like they've had a reduction of 300, almost 300 or 200 and something, 260 students.
259 students overall, from spring 2020 to spring 2022. There's a reduction of 259 students that was enrolled at school. Now, if
It's important to notice that overall HBCU enrollment is up by leaps and bounds. So Bethune-Cookman is definitely an anomaly because overall HBCU attendance is up. So,
well, can I make an ignorant statement right here?
go ahead.
Listen, UNCF is supposed to help them too, right? The United Negro College Fund. Aren't they supposed to help Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah, they private.
yes, they are supposed to help with scholarships and funding.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, what do you think, Mr. Ford? You think they're hesitant or what?
Well, my thinking right now is that this not only the athletic problem, but the total school problem has to be addressed immediately. Because, like I said, if somebody called SWAC and said, you know what, there's some misappropriation and they not on sound financial footing, and SWAC comes down there, they will shut the school down. That's what they did to Morris Brown.
And SACS is the one that's going to do the auditing.
Yeah.
So remember, because it's just like, you know how if a state comes in, you know how the state comes in, they do their auditing and everything. That's what SACS is going to do. SACS is going to come in. They're going to look at the books. They're going to see what's up with the books. They're going to go around this campus. They're going to go around the school. They're going to go to each college, whatever, like college of business, college of nursing, college of science. They're going to go through all that.
But Doc,
they're going to go through all that, and then if they find something wrong, something that like that's real egregious. Yes, it's going to be some smoke in the city.
And they real hard on black colleges. Don't forget that.
All right,
based on what I'm hearing, though, everybody seems like, I mean, to me, I would think that wouldn't happen after they just had 2 devastating hurricanes.
Right.
They would at least wait until they get the FEMA funding, wait until they are able to renovate some of these buildings. I would hope and pray that they wouldn't shut down and close it.
All right.
Well,
Can I ask a question?
SWAC would actually put them probably give them a year of maybe like probation or something. It wouldn't go to suspension directly.
Right.
All right.
Now,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
So
I got some Mr. Campbell put something up in there.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Now, okay, so it's a couple things I want to address, but I'm glad Mr. Campbell had also said that too as well. For one, when Timona was talking about dodging a bullet, because I can understand why you would make that statement, or anybody would make that statement right there. I just slightly disagree, because I mean, I hate the fact that HBCUs are being trashed by other people who didn't even go there, for one. But for two, sometimes you got to make a little noise in order for things to change.
Right.
Like it's like being professional sometimes, and trying to be like the model example of what Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune would be. Sometimes you've done that already before so many times, and people look at that as you being weak. And so when you voice yourself in a boisterous type of way, it may be ugly, but then it may get the attention on you. And a lot of it may be bad attention, but some of it's gonna be good attention. Some of it is gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna go down there and help. Like for me, like I live in Orlando now, but I'm thinking like, you know what, like I really need to go back home and like at least volunteer some weekends and be like, you know what, let me just go see how can I help clean up or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right, but the reason why I said that is because what he didn't even say the kids aren't he didn't even say I didn't at least hear him in his rant. I didn't hear him say the kids are having a trouble finding a place to stay. All I heard him complain about is the fact that they were not going to pay for a field, which he should have been able to look around at the campus and tell they couldn't afford a field. And it was placed in his contract. If you read his contract, it says something about provisions and resources. They weren't able to come to an agreement on that.
I got some. Now this is some. I understand where you come from, Timona, but this is if they said this is coming from the university, as far as either whoever talked to him, board of trustees, or the school president, or the athletic director, if they said that they was going to give him, they're going to give the football program something, and it, he's not saying to do it now, but he's saying like they supposed to give him practice facility or practice football field or whatever, and they not living up to their, they're not living up to their end of the, end of the bargain. He gotta, in a sense, I'm not saying, like I said, I don't like how he approached. I don't like the language how he said it, but he has all the right to say, "Hey, y'all reneging on y'all deal."
But Doc, check this out. I really believe that they told him something because he wouldn't have been there.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
See, I feel you, but at some time, like at some point, and this is me, I'm thinking that Ed dropped the ball too as well in some regard, right? Because you have to research these places before you go there, bro.
Yep.
Like for me, I would just be like, yo, like, and yeah, and this is why, like I was saying on my Facebook last week when he was talking about the rent, I was saying, man, if I'm Bethune-Cookman, because for me, I would have never fired Terry Sims because I'm just looking at it as like who you gonna bring in for one. Like
Right.
you don't have anybody who you can just think off the top of your head you can just bring in. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, cool, you fired Terry Sims, but if you're gonna bring in somebody else, you can't all the professional stuff got to go out the window. You just got to meet and be like, hey, bro, like, hey, I know you want to coach here, but hey, look, listen, this what it is, my boy. Like, it's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
But
And
Deion
so,
Sanders already told him all of this, so that's my issue. You keep on saying
right,
Deion is right, Deion
but
this, Deion that. Well, if Deion is right, then you should have known that
But,
HBCUs don't have the
but he
money
also
to
said,
do
I,
it.
but he still said he was out there to help though. He wanted to help.
What's
right,
up, Coach Green?
and
What's
and
up,
not
man?
only that, it's a difference between somebody telling you something and you actually going to go see it. Like I can tell y'all, I like the way y'all hearing about me talk about like Daytona right now. You probably
Mhm.
like, God, dog, like is that bad? But until you go there, you'll be like, man, God, like Pandy is right, bro. Like this is crazy. Like why does it look like it's a like? And you think like, dang, NASCAR comes here every year. Every year NASCAR comes in, has the biggest race to start off NASCAR season, and Cookman don't see and Daytona still looks like this. Y'all have spring break here every year. Y'all have Black Bike Week here every year, and y'all can't generate no type of revenue funds. And that's another thing too as well that my wife had talked about too as well because of the fact that I'm from Daytona. Like if you look at Mainland High School, right? They had a good year this past year. They went to the state championships, lost by 1 point or 2 points, something like that. The last 2 weeks before they went to the state championship, the head coach of Mainland High School had local businesses that was donating their funds, having donating dinners to football players. He has been able to get a whole bunch of just different people in the city to come and pitch in and help out any way possible. What is it that the coach at Mainland High School is doing that Bethune Cookman can't even do? Like you can't even get waste management to come out and volunteer some time to help clean up.
I get what you're
And
saying.
Environmental
therefore,
racism. Environmental
The,
racism.
you
the
could say
biggest
environmental
problem is the
racism,
board.
but
Nobody want to talk about that. It's the board. The board
it's
been
the
doing all
board.
too
There
long.
we
Ain't no
go.
way.
It goes
Ain't
back
no
to the
way you
board.
gonna have an interim president for that long.
Now here's the
that
whole thing
long.
too. Then, hey Jay
That was
Blue,
my
didn't
next
you tell
question.
me that Vince Carter's mom was on the board of trustees and she raised so much hell on the board of trustees that they got rid of her, right? They
I
Thank
think
you.
or she left out.
maybe her term was over,
Uh,
but she was on there for a minute though.
she
Okay.
was on there, but she was also behind that whole best of the vote thing too as well.
Yeah.
Let me
And
ask a
wasn't
Oh,
question. So what?
Shaq mom on the board?
I
She's a
don't
graduate of
think
that school. Shaq's mama's a graduate.
she's a graduate of school. I don't think she was on the
Yeah,
board
she's
though.
a graduate of Bethune
Shaq mom
Cookman.
is a graduate,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
which is why
And,
yeah.
If you seen
and this
Edrin
and this
James, because Edrin James was at Bethune Cookman yesterday with Ed Reed.
Right. He was with
So
Ed Reed.
if you see his Instagram page or his Facebook page now, he said, "Oh, shouts out to Shaq and the rest of the billionaires who was going to donate to
See,
Bethune Cookman
see,
Athletics." Now, I
see.
still think that they should still donate because you see how bad the school is.
Okay, but
Like
listen,
that's my
listen,
whole
listen.
thing.
But listen. All right,
how you
cool.
gonna donate to somebody you don't trust though?
Exactly.
You don't.
But
I
that goes
mean,
back to
if
what Timona said.
it was
Timona
really
said
for
you
the
could write the
kids,
check
though,
straight. My fault. Go
if
ahead,
it
Timona. I'm
was
sorry.
really for the kids, like you say it was,
No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no,
if
no.
it
No,
was
no, no,
really
no,
for,
Oh
you're
no, no,
saying
no,
we're
no.
here to help
See,
the
mm-mm.
kids.
that's the
No,
issue.
sir.
That's the issue right there. Everybody keep on talking about for the kids, but a lot of people don't really care about the kids. They sitting
That's
there
the point,
flogging.
and that's the
People don't care
point.
about the kids. They don't
But
care about the kids because this stuff wouldn't be like it is if they cared.
Shaquille
Why
O'Neal's
every time?
mom is a
Why every
Bethune
time
Cookman
when
graduate.
people sit there and talk
so
about they
what does
care
that?
about the kids, but nothing get done until the kids come out and say something?
Say something. Yeah, I understand. Now I
This
understand where
what
you
this
coming
sounds like
from.
to me. Listen, this sounds like the problem can be solved, but they want somebody who be moved before they donate money.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds.
here's your
Ooh,
answer
Sounds
right
like to
here
me.
from Mr.
what do
Campbell.
you
Leadership.
read?
Leadership. The
Dr.
leadership is terrible. Why would I
Here's your-
donate to a terrible leadership?
Because
Exactly.
you're not donating to the leadership. You don't have
All
to
right, no,
donate.
you
But
join
You don't
that
have to
leadership. You
you're
donate
not
donate
your
going
to
to give
money.
them millions of
that
You
dollars.
pay.
leadership. You is.
Hold on. Let her get her. Let me get Timona get her point across.
You
Go
do
ahead,
not
Timona.
have to pay money. You said that you're doing it for the kids. You pay directly to the contractor who's going to build that field. You said that the kids shouldn't have moldy helmets. If Nike is who their sponsor group is, you put the 30,000 or 20,000, whatever it costs, and you send that check directly to Nike. There, you can't say that the money was misappropriated or nothing was done with the money because you paid exactly for what you said that you were donating it to. And you don't have to donate money. So that's an excuse and a cop out.
That's no excuse.
Nah, she got a
The
point. She
people
got a point.
the
Yeah,
people that know that's no excuse.
Hold
But
on.
people that
technically
Let me
you can do
get
that.
Coach Green. Go ahead and get your point.
the people that go out and get these deals are the people they donating for. If that person not there to get that deal, they not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna donate anyway." You know this ain't how business work. We can't act like we don't know that's how business don't work like that.
Now here's
And
the
that's
whole
why I
thing.
said it's not genuine. And Shaq's mom
No,
It
is
don't
a
matter.
is a
Hey,
Shaq is
come
the real
on,
deal
come
when it
on.
comes to donating. The real deal. Millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
I'm telling you.
I would often say cap too because
Nah, ain't cap.
ain't nobody. I'm not trying to say that Shaq wouldn't have donated, but these billionaires that Ed Reed speaks of, I know that if it was going to be a company that was donating, like a Walmart, like how Dion did, nobody's donating. No, PR. That's a PR
Who
disaster. No
got
one
that?
is
Who
putting
got
their
that?
money
Who
in
got
it.
that Walmart deal?
Professional Dion Sanders.
Okay.
And Walmart is not going to foster a relationship with the Ed Reed who acts
You're a
like that.
lie. You're a lie. You
No,
lying right
no,
now. You
no.
is lying
So
right now.
who is
You
his
is
Dion,
lying right
endorsements?
Dion
now.
could stamp it.
What endorsements does Ed Reed have currently? I'll
It
wait.
Hold on.
don't matter. Because who he
Do
is,
matter.
he can get them deals.
He ain't get them
He
deals
ain't got
now.
them
Because who he
already.
is. He got y'all.
Hold
y'all
on. Hold on. Hold on. 'Cause I don't want us to go off the rail because our whole thing is for this platform right here is to find out not to find out, but try to figure out what can we do to help get this school back on the right foot. And what Mr. Campbell put in the chat right here is that what Bethune-Cookman has not had in over 10 years, and that is consistency with their leadership. If you do
There you
not
go.
have consistency with your leadership, then it's just like
A band-aid.
it's just like a band-aid. If that band-aid, you keep putting that band-aid on there and you take it off, you keep putting back on there and you take it off, you keep putting back on there, you take it off, then that band ain't gonna do its job, which is supposed to help heal everything, heal whatever type of scar, whatever type of bruise or abrasion that you have. So if you do not have the consistency with your leadership, then you're gonna be on just like what's wrong, like what's going on now. And for them, and like I said, you're on this president is an interim president, and he's been an interim president for over about 3 or 4 years now.
Make it make sense.
It don't make sense. You had in the last 10, 12 years, you had 3 interim presidents as a university. There is not consistency right there. That's like that's like, just like you said, it's like putting a band-aid on something and you keep taking it off and you put it back on, taking it off, put it back on. The same band-aid is not gonna get done. It's not gonna do its job.
Hey, you ever saw what happened to a gasoline leak that's duct tape with duct tape on it?
What it do?
Gasoline eat up the duct tape.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna start looking through it. Now, here's the thing that I would like to say. I'm sorry, am I cutting anybody off?
No, go ahead.
No, you good.
No. So, because Doc, you are asking a good question every time we kind of go off the rail. You always ask, okay, what can we do to get the situation back? Now, for me, this might seem wrong, right? But it's kind of going where Mr. Ford was going, and I would just tank the whole school. Like, because everybody keeps saying it's the same thing. It's the board. It's the board of trustees. It's the board of trustees. So it's like you ask yourself, okay, how do you get rid of a board of trustees, especially at a private institution? Well, you got to have low enrollment. Like I would just tell all students, bro, just transfer out and don't have no students come there at least for 2 years. It
So
might seem wrong,
No,
but
protest
sometimes
would be better.
Yeah, protest. Yeah.
no, but okay, you protested already before about basic devotion under the graduation. That didn't change nothing. The only thing that did was
I see
brought
what you're
you a
saying,
new.
D. I see what you're saying. Basically,
When
kill
was
it from
that
the
though?
inside. That's what you're saying.
That was
Basically,
that
if you're
was
gonna you basically you saying the way you get rid of your board of trustees, if you say you telling your kids to transfer out because there's no kids going to be at the school, you don't get no fund.
Or
You're not getting no funding from these kids that's going to the school. So you kill it from the inside. That's
because
what
or
the
how
that's
about a
what
city?
D is saying.
yeah
How about a
because
city?
the thing is that the board is thinking, well, we can't be that bad if we still got kids enrollment, regardless if it's going down or going up. But I'm saying nobody don't nobody go here, nobody at all. Sometimes like it's like that one quote. Sometimes you got to tank the ship to save yourself, bro. To start all back over, all fresh new, and then you get a new whole new board in because maybe they'll look at it like, you know what, okay, yeah, it is a board. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm just speaking from inexperience because I don't know anything about a board of
But
trustees. And in order to get rid of them, but if it's the same issue that's been going on, again, you have not. The last time I heard of a president at Bethune Cookman is what Mr. Campbell said was Dr. Trudy Reed, and that was back in 2012 or
Well, they
but let me
2013
ask
at
you a
that time.
question. What is the actual process though to eliminate the board or to get that process going? Like what has to
I
happen
don't
first?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. So my thing is that just don't nobody go. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if no kid was to go there at all, if every kid was to at least go to Daytona State, which is the community college that's in the city, or if everybody was like, you know what, we can't go. Because think about it, you have Mainland High School that's there for you have Mainland High School that has premier athletes that go to Division One schools, but you don't even have that. So you don't if you only got 2,000 students or 3,000 students at your school, and not even half of that is your Central Florida area kids or your Volusia County area kids. So everybody else is coming from out of state. So I would just tell everybody else from out of state, like, don't come, bro. Don't go here.
No, this the killer. You say they got 2,000 students in all?
2,400.
2,400.
Around 2,400.
2,400. Don't y'all realize half of that is athletes?
And the other third is probably the band members.
Wow.
Yep. Band is about 375, 400 strong.
Yeah.
The rest of them
Football.
is foot part the football team, everybody athletes. So now, Mr. Ford, I understand what you saying. This sounds like a Morris Brown issue because Morris Brown was about their accreditation. They were still able to stay open, but
Yeah.
they had to find
The
money
kids
on
couldn't
their
get federal
own to
But this
funding.
is
get
the thing
their
about
full.
accreditation, though.
They
Accreditation
couldn't
is
get it.
about what you have in your endowment. Morris Brown
No,
didn't have no
no,
money in
no,
the
Not
endowment.
really, not really, not really,
no.
Coach Green.
That's not true. What they said they were on unsound financial footing. That's what they got Payne on. That's what they got Knoxville College on.
Bishop
That's
And
what
Allen.
they
they got.
didn't have a lot of money in their endowment, though. That's the thing.
No, and listen, I just told y'all. Other than Spelman, uh, Tuskegee, Morehouse, Hampton, those are the only ones got them very large endowments now. The black private schools don't have no large endowments.
Oh, we got a I can tell you Russ got one.
Who?
But
Russ, and we private.
What's the endowment numbers?
Shoot, our endowment is like almost 60 million.
That's not considered like we
Small
talking
for a
Spelman
small
got
institution.
5 or
Small
600 million.
institution. We are small.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most
That's
of
a
the
lot
black
for a
private
small
schools are.
institution.
You're not listening.
I don't know
Most of
why
the
you
black
guys are
private
acting
schools
like
are
there
small.
why are you guys acting like there's HBCUs that don't have a football team?
Right, okay, so it's funny you say that, right, Simona? Because now I'll say this, Coach Green. Okay, maybe Rush does have that, and that's good because they are the outlier. But for the majority of us, for the majority of the private agencies, they don't have the funding. And so for Simona, like the thing that I was thinking about earlier was like you have other colleges in Florida, right, that are doing better than Cookman. Like, of course, FAMU is going to be better than Cookman, but
You got Florida Memorial.
but Flomo is coming up. Edward Waters is coming up now because they have, for one, Edward
He
Waters has a
wrong.
young president who is revamping that college, and I like the way that where he's going in these last 2, 3, 4 years. And this is a college who is smaller than Bethune Cookman, and they are now starting to be at least on the better end of them when it comes to just student enrollment, student engagement, social media engagement. Like that president understands how to get students there and how to get students to feel good about being at Edward Waters University. So for me, it's like, why isn't the board of trustees at Bethune Cookman taking notes from these different people? Why aren't they taking notes from Florida Memorial on how to get out of situations? Why aren't they taking notes from the new president at Morris Brown on how to get out of situations? Morris Brown was in the toughest situations of all HBCUs, and
Sure,
now they're back to being accredited.
I could
So
tell you
now
this: they could have called Michael Sorrells, the president of Paul Quinn College, and see how he did what he doing with a small enrollment. Even though they don't have football, but he has a small enrollment, and they're doing way much better than what they was, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. Also, let's put it just like this, and this is what Mr. Campbell said. Board of Trustees hired the president, and they used the major alumni participation in the choice. That's because now the board of trustees decertified the Alumni Association. The alumni has no voice for about what's going on with the school because they don't have an actual association that they can go to and say, hey, we don't like what's going on in Bethune. Y'all need to get, you know what I'm saying? Y'all need to get y'all stuff together. Or we, as the alumni, that maybe whoever it is, that $10,000 check or that $5,000 check that you get almost every year from me, let's just say I send it to somebody else and not send it to you.
From what I
I had
heard,
an alumni tell me they got rid of Miss BCU. They don't even do the Roy Court no more.
Yeah, that's crazy. I haven't heard about that in a long time. But not only that, but from what I heard, now this is just hearsay. I don't know if it's true or not. But from what I heard that when Jackson was the interim president, Dr. Jackson was there, he was getting on the alumni about them not giving a lot of money at that time. He was criticizing and saying, well, it's only 3% of alumni don't donate back anyway, and just trying to. He wasn't making the situation better. I mean, if you're an interim president, you're not even the president. You're interim
and from
president.
what I'm hearing, the board want a president that can control.
It's always gonna be like that. It's always because if you the board of trustees, I'm hiring you as the president. You're gonna go with our meaning the board's best interest. Now let's just say this, because Bethune Cookman is part of the United Methodist Church. If the UMC get a hold of what's going on, also that's a done deal. Because the UNC is the one that's going to appoint the people in the board. Now you got to understand this is you can say it's not a church school. It wasn't founded as a church school, but they got affiliated with United Methodist Church. So if United Methodist Church find out what's going on, also with SACs, and they feel like the board of trustees ain't doing their job, they gonna go and try to find somebody that's more capable and more competent to actually get the job done.
Accreditation took 2 years to go through. I mean, you put the paper up. They were in the accreditation process since COVID. they've been trying to get accredited, and they just received their accreditation. So that means that they've went through a series of processes over the past 2 years to get their accreditation. So if the issue is that the football players don't have what they properly need, ask for a 1-year waiver.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say let's not act like we necessarily need celebrities.
Right.
The AD needs to be working with corporate sponsors. Celebrities are not the only ones that
Mm-hmm.
can provide these types of relationships. The
But they
AD is an NBA player. Like,
Use
they
your
need to be
resources.
launching these relationships needs to be built outside of just a celebrity, because more often
But you
than
know what?
not, celebrities are not the ones that they'll give back to certain HBCUs, but overall, the mass of Black celebrities do not give back. I'm pretty sure Deion Sanders has not given back any money to Talladega, where he got his degree from.
Why you assuming?
You make a good point, though,
Hey, go
Timon.
look it
Because
up.
trust and
Go
believe,
look
if
it
he
up.
did,
Listen, Talladega always tells you who gives money back. I've never seen his name on the list. Anybody assuming they do that? They'll tell you who gives money back.
trust and believe, if Deion Sanders did something for Talladega, he would
It
record
would be
it.
all
And
over
they would
the
let
And
you
it,
know.
Yep.
No, for him to get that degree, he did something for him. Now, come on now.
No.
what?
No, Ashley and them just pull some strings, that's all. But I'm
No,
saying,
no,
you
no,
said that
no,
she's
no, no,
assuming.
no,
I'm
no.
telling you now, if he gave some money back to
I know,
Talladega would let everybody know it.
They
Yes,
would.
they would.
And he would have let everybody
Come
know
on
as
now.
well.
All
He
right.
would have
Yeah.
filmed
All
it. He
right.
would have shook
If
their
you
hand.
know,
He'd have
hey,
been
look here.
smiling in the camera.
We used to play
Yeah.
Talladega. I know people at Talladega.
I know
Just like I
some
know
too.
people at BCU, I know people at Talladega.
I do too.
My
And
thing about
I
this
got
is
and I heard something different.
my thing about this is right here. First of all, when it comes to the AD, he either gonna be the AD or he gonna be the
He'll be the
basketball coach.
basketball coach. Right.
That's the first thing right there. That is the first thing right there. You gonna make him the AD or he gonna be the basketball coach. And I understand the reason why, because you want to go cheap, because you try to be cheap, you try to be slick.
The board.
When you
But you know
slash your
what?
budget.
But you know what? I'll say this. Going back to what Simona was saying about why, why can't we just sit out a year? For a while, A&T, they had a men's tennis program that they had when I was there, but they cut the program right after I graduated. But they just now brought it back, because sometimes you just gonna have to restructure some things. So maybe you don't have to. So it may be a hard thing to do, but you might have to cut the football program at least for 1 year or maybe two. Now, if
Now
people don't want to see that because of the whole Florida
Look
Classic
here.
situation, well, now
Look
you
here.
got a chance to go ahead on and do something at Bethune-Cookman.
They
I'm
gonna
gonna say this before. Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Let me say this. They got football contracts with that Florida Classic. They can't cut that football team now, because they got a contract with those people in Orlando at that Florida Classic.
Well, then
They
whoever
got-
is the sponsor at the
but-
Florida Classic needs to help them get some funding to get some
There you
the
go.
correct type
Yeah.
of
There you
uniforms
go.
and the
But they
correct
can't
type
cut
of
that because,
helmet.
listen, that
Look here.
Florida Classic has what, hey, Mr. Camp, how many years is that contract for the Florida Classic? Didn't they just renew that?
Y'all,
They just renewed it.
this is what y'all missed.
I know they just renewed it, but the thing is
They
that
just renewed it. They did. But what y'all
but-
missing is Bethune don't try to save face. They're gonna hire somebody big to try to save face now.
They don't have to hire
They don't
anybody
need to.
big.
They don't need to
just
hire nobody
They don't
big.
need to hire
anybody
something.
big.
Street.
Here's
They
the
gonna
whole
hire
thing.
big to save
I'm gonna
face.
say hey, Coach Green, before you go there, I'm gonna address this right here. Most graduates don't get back to HBCUs. I'm gonna tell you just like this: most graduates don't get back to HBCUs within their first 5 to 6 years because they're riddled with student loan debt.
Yeah.
True.
You are
True.
21, 22 years old out in the world, but you got to make a living, and then you still got to pay back your student loans. Of course, they're not gonna give back, but once they get on their feet, then they're gonna give back. Then they give
So
back.
true.
So let's cut the excuse my language, y'all. Let's cut the bullshit about they don't give back to HBCUs. Cut it. You go out there right now as a student and you graduate in this world right now with inflation, and you go in 2 years. Okay, let's say 2 years. You get yourself on your feet in 2 years. You gonna get back to your university at the moment? No, because you got to figure out if I'm gonna give $100 to this school, or I got to take this $100 to go get some damn groceries at the grocery store.
Right.
And them $9 eggs.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's cut the bull crap with this right here, because right now it seems like you're trolling, and I know you're trolling right now. So you could respectfully, disrespectfully get off my screen. Thank you.
See, but you know people ain't being real about all that money they talking about. That really come from media deals.
That too. But you know what? But going back to what I was saying about the whole Florida Classic thing was that, you know, of course, yeah, they may have a contract with Florida Blue, but they ain't paying the contractors from the dorms they built. So what is it for them to break another contract? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you're just gonna have to tank. Sometimes you're gonna have to tank in order to restart and start all over.
You know who did?
I just got two more things. I just got two more things to just
go ahead, Jay. Go, Jay.
So I just put another link in the private chat. So the last full-time president that they hired President Shrite, April of 2019. Mm-hmm. And in the actual link that I put in the private chat, he left without even informing the board of trustees in 2021.
Because they fell out. The board, him and the board fell out.
They wouldn't. The board wants somebody they can control.
Yeah,
and they couldn't control him. And he resigned. And the next day after he resigned, he was named the president of Bentley University in Massachusetts.
So
Alumni told me that story. Told me that exact same story.
So I say it just like this: if you cut the football program for 1 year, you know what that sounds like to me. It's two programs that sound like to me. And Mr. Ford gonna hit it right on. He gonna understand where I'm coming from. He hit it right on the head. One, even though because they was cheating and paying their players off, SMU.
Yeah.
The other one, because I'm gonna tell you just like this. The stuff that was going on with that head coach at this university, that withholding financial aid money from his players. Prairie View,
right?
Prairie View was the same way. Prairie View almost basically went on the death penalty. Not saying they ain't in trouble. I ain't talking about Bethune is in trouble as far as when it comes to football. What I'm saying is, when you're talking about you're talking about shutting down a program for at least a year so they could get their affairs in order. That would be one. That's the only ways you will see it. That's the only ways I see it. Now
it's still going to get straight because of the board.
But Doc, they can't cut that football program. Let me tell you. That's the city of Orlando makes so much money, and the surrounding area makes so much money after that Florida Classic.
Well, then the city of Orlando.
Let me just say that they would have so many lawsuits thrown at Bethune-Cookman because that Florida Classic is one of the biggest events of the city of Orlando and that surrounding area. Right. Yeah, you're right. They do need to give the schools more money, but there's no way they can cut that football program because they've already signed those contracts. Those contracts has already been signed.
Yeah, and then if they cut the football program, then
the university is
going to be liable to be paid.
Yeah, they're going to be liable to the city of Orlando and done Blue Shield. Who sponsors that Blue Shield?
Because the NCAA rules, they wouldn't bear to drop football.
Yeah, but I'm saying who sponsors that Florida Classic?
What I'm saying is, you're saying that the whole school will they'll call in accreditation, they'll lose their accreditation, they'll lose this, that, and the third. If these same people, the Florida Classic, or if they're not willing to use some of their corporate sponsors to pay for this stuff, then y'all are just going to miss out on the money, and you're going to sue Bethune, who's not going to be able to pay for it anyway. They don't have any money. So if they don't have any money for a
They
football
not
field,
broke.
they
They
definitely
not
don't
broke.
have no money for a lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm
They
just
not
saying
broke.
they would have. Listen, it would be that is one of the biggest events in the city of Orlando. They got to keep that football team because I'm telling you, you would have so many suits coming at them from the city of Orlando, from the city, from that. I don't know if it's Blue Shield, Blue Cross, or whoever sponsors that that Florida Classic. All them people would sue them to death.
And they don't have any money anyway. That's what you're saying that they need money.
They not.
They
They
need
not broke.
money. You're saying that they're not broke, but obviously they are broke if they do not have
No,
the
the board
correct
is broke.
types of uniform. No, the school, obviously. The
No,
school
it's
is
the board.
complicit. If they
Hold
don't
on,
have the
hold-
correct helmets, they don't have the correct uniforms, they
The
don't
board.
have a place for the football team to practice properly. If they don't have the money to do that, and these football players are saying all of these bad things about Bethune, and we're talking about losing all of the financial aid for all 2,400 students versus losing a program for 100 students, unless these corporate sponsors are going to go ahead and make sure that
Oh my God.
Bethune-Cookman has the correct stuff, why would they continue to play football? So are you
now
going to ask?
here's a whole thing. What Mr. Campbell said. He said Bethune-Cookman can't drop football because they're in a contract with the SWAC. Basically,
Right.
it's within the bylaws that
Yeah.
Bethune has to sponsor football.
So
Because
my
if they can't sponsor football, then they won't be able. The SWAC won't be able to have a conference championship. That's one thing. You know, that's one thing that the reason why they did. You know, part of the reason why they do that. Because you really have to have 10, but because Bethune-Cookman is already they signed that contract, and the SWAC put that in the bylaws. They're
I guess I'm just a little confused
so my
because you guys
question.
are talking about them losing their accreditation, losing all their federal funding. But when I say, okay, just put the football team in a timeout, they can't do that. So what I'm basically saying is, how do you propose that they solve this issue that's
Get
going
rid of the
on?
board. Get rid of the board.
And
So
the probability of them getting rid of the board is what? How do you get rid of the board?
go through United Methodist Church.
Okay, so the probability of all this happening is it's not probably more than likely they're not going to be able to get rid of the board. So next, how are they going to solve this issue with the same board and an interim president and an
This
AD
been
who's
going.
also a basketball coach?
This joint been going on for years. So how you gonna get rid
No,
of something?
well,
And the
Mr. Vaughn,
band-aid
I
been
think
ripped off.
you gonna end up. It's gonna be legal. It's gonna go to court. It's gonna go to court.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna go to court.
Here's my question though.
Go ahead.
So and anybody can answer this one. Is that we talk about how they have these contracts with the SWAC, how they got contracts with Blue Cross Blue Shield, who is now Florida Blue, to play in the Florida Classic, or they have a contract with the SWAC to play a football game. So my question: what happens if they don't? What happens if they can't like legit do it? What's the backlash for that?
Right.
I'm gonna put it like
And
this.
that's and
Y'all
Like
remember
legally,
when
I know, like
Grambling
no,
called me?
I'm
I
legit
see what you're
asking.
saying, because I had to go back and look at you got to go and look at those bylaws from the SWAC and see what happens if something happens to
Yeah,
a certain member school.
yeah.
And
Y'all
what
remember when
does the SWAC
Grambling?
do?
Y'all remember when Grambling players protested
Yeah,
and
remember
everything got done?
that because the
Because
commissioner went
they
down
said they
there.
wasn't going because they said they wasn't gonna play no football games unless this stuff get done.
Now, Coach Green. So I see what you're saying, right? But my question to you is that a band-aid or is that an actual change?
It's gonna have to be because actual change happened at Grambling when that happened. Because if the football team don't play, it's gonna cost them money.
Cost who? The school?
Yes, the school gonna have to pay fines to every school they do not play.
And
So when
in
you
a
do your
situation,
schedule, there's a certain amount of money you got to pay out if you don't play this game.
and in a situation like Bethune-Cookman, if you can't, like, if you just don't got the facilities to do it, like you just don't got the players to do it, so you got to pay a fine to these schools for money that you don't even have.
Yep.
Yep.
So what happens? What happens to the school? Or what happens to the athletic program? Does the athletic program have to go away for next year?
Hey, anything can happen, but they gonna have to pay that fine regardless. If the football players,
They not paying. I'm filing. Listen,
How can you
I
pay for
just
something
want.
you ain't got no money?
I just
they got
want
money.
to.
No, they got money.
They're not going to
Who?
use that money to if they can't fix the crack building, they're not going to definitely not going to use it to pay a lawsuit to
Thank
Oh,
you.
they
some
gonna
random
have to
company.
pay it.
Who
They're
who
gonna
So
pay it
for real?
regardless.
Who
you
else
said
for
that they
real?
got the money. Who are you saying that they have the money? Who has the money?
Bethune got the money.
But then who
Cookman,
got the money for what?
BCU, they
How,
got the
when
money.
So
they don't have the money to
Bethune-Cookman
pay.
has money to pay out a lawsuit, but they don't have money
You know.
to fix a crack
Oh,
building.
hold up. You know they part of the SWAC media deal, right?
The SWAC media deal, which covers what? Which is the new? That's a new contract, right? That's a new thing
Yep.
that just happened. But
And that payment is coming. And his payment is coming. The payment about to roll in maybe a few months.
But that ain't
I
gonna be.
pay.
That's nothing though, man.
That's
Like
I
that
nothing.
is.
would
You
venture
still
to say the hurricane. I don't know. Maybe I need to look and do some little research. I really couldn't find any research. I'm pretty sure maybe Florida doesn't want people to know about the guesstimate of how much damage, infrastructure damage that it's probably in, I would guess like $20 million maybe worth of damage.
look at it like this, Timon.
And that's
Look at it
on the
like this.
low end. $20 million
Yeah,
worth of damage. And y'all are worried
look,
about somebody playing a football game.
exactly. So because here's the thing: when that first hurricane came through, when the first hurricane came through this year, it came from the
Mm-hmm.
west side. Where it came from Tampa area. It didn't hit Tampa. It hit like Port Charlotte. Not Fort Myers. It hit Fort Myers and it really drove up I-4. So
Yeah.
it came through where I'm staying at now, which is Orlando. And by the time it got to Orlando, it calmed down to like a category 1. Because when it hit Fort Myers, it was a category 4 and totally destroyed that area. Now it went all the way out to Daytona and went out in the Atlantic Ocean, but then came back up. Now when it hit Daytona, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. But I'm guessing when it hit Daytona, it kind of stayed there for a little while longer than what it normally did. And of course, if you know anything about hurricanes, when it hits that water, it picks up the strength back up. So when that hurricane came back up and started going back up, Volusia kind of caught that bad area when it stayed and picked up some strength and caught that last band. And I just looked at the news the other day. They're still trying to start the process of fixing things on the beach side of Daytona Beach.
Mm.
So that's just how bad things were for some people. Like it was really bad in Daytona. And like I said, I didn't think it was gonna be that bad because it came from the west. Daytona's on the east. So I was like, okay, by the time we get to Daytona, it's gonna be like a tropical storm. No, it probably was, but it really hit Daytona really bad in that area where Bethune-Cookman is at. Like I had a lot of friends who had storm leakage. They had flooding going on in their homes, not just the street, but actually in their homes as well. So the thing is that again, Daytona has a lot of issues going on right now, not just in the black neighborhoods, but also on the B side where the white folks stay up too as well from hurricane damage. So we can't even be worried about a football team now. Like that school has to get fixed just from a natural disaster, but also they don't even have the money to pay for the contractors from the previous dorm rooms that they just built, and that was 4 years ago. So the thing is that I'll take the lawsuit. I don't know when I'm gonna pay y'all back. I'm taking that just like I hate to say it,
I'm
just like an
filing for
HBCU,
bankruptcy and
just like
restructure.
an HBCU student talking about Sally Mae, man. I pay y'all whenever I pay y'all, bro. Like it is what it is. If you ain't get it by now, chances are you ain't never gonna get it, man.
Mm. Man, there's a lot of things that we we done touched on, man. I know some people that struck the nerve, and I don't know we got some eyes that ain't part of the HBCU realm, but they going, people going to say they 2 cents.
Mhm.
They probably ain't stepped foot on the campus of a black college university. They ain't experienced that. So, like, I'm gonna tell you just like this, y'all. Again, for the ones that just prying eyes and want to put out a narrative talking about it's all HBCUs, this is just a BCU thing. It's a Bethune-Cookman thing. Let's just get this straight. It's Bethune-Cookman. No other school is doing what they doing right now. But
I was kind of surprised that they did hire somebody because rumor has it that they was on a hiring freeze.
So in other words, they should have never got rid of. In other words, they should have never fired Terry Sims.
That's what I'm saying, because even if this whole situation with Ed Reed doesn't happen, and you hire Ed Reed, do you even have enough money or resources to support him with whatever type of people he wants to bring in?
Nope.
So again, Coach Green, if you got the money, like what money are you referring to? You say they got the money if they can't even, if they on a hiring freeze. And I want to see Cookman do good. I think, but at this point, I think people would rather see the band than the football team. That's the only thing that has stayed consistent at Bethune-Cookman is Dr. Wells and the actual marching Wildcat.
So here's the question, y'all, and I like this question for Mr. Logan. How does Bethune-Cookman move forward now? How do they move forward?
It's only one or two ways you can move. I'm sorry, my fault, Doc. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's only one or two ways you can move forward. Again, in my opinion, you either gonna tank and let new blood come in and be on the board of trustees, or if you talk about how they're gonna move forward from a football standpoint, whoever you hire, the coach has to understand that you're in a tight situation. You probably could hire again. You could probably go down the street to Maryland High School. You can hire the high school football coach there. You can hire the high school football coach that's in Orlando. That's around my area at a Cole High School. He's also a Wildcat too as well. Like there are actual former Bethune-Cookman football players who are great high school coaches. So that's why I agree with what Simone is saying. Like you don't need a big time hire. You just need somebody who's in the city, who understands the school, who went to the school, who understands what the school looked like in its heyday, and get it back.
Hey, Doc.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Hey, Doc.
Go ahead.
That Bethune-Cookman hired Lynn Thompson as a president and give him 5 years.
Woo! Now you talking. Now you talking.
He'll get it done in what, 2? Like, hey. Round table. Didn't I just say? See, this how I know people don't listen and don't comprehend. Because we got a problem. And I ain't talking about just black people. I'm talking about everybody. People nowadays, people don't have a thing about comprehension. Didn't I just say this is a Bethune-Cookman situation? This is a Bethune-Cookman issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you got any kind of 2 cents that you want to put out there on your little small funky platform, you can go do that right now, and you can get off mine. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to say this, but I've stated this before. This is a Bethune-Cookman issue. This is not. Do not lump Bethune-Cookman with all 107 HBCUs out there.
Right.
Please don't do that. Cause I could go to some white schools and tell you, I go to a bunch of white schools and say they ain't doing what they supposed to do. I go to some schools in Louisiana, in South Louisiana. I'm sorry, Coach Green. I ain't trying to get on on the place where you from, but I can go to Nickel State. It's trash. It's terrible. I've been there before. Southeast Louisiana ain't that great.
A lot
either.
of mosquitoes. A lot of mosquitoes over there.
Northwestern State. I could go, and I'm in Texas. I'm gonna tell you just like this. I'm in Texas. All right. I could go to Sam Houston. That's around the corner from the damn state penitentiary. I could go to Stephen F. Austin. I went there for a year and a half. And it ain't all that great. You got places, you got dorms that look like the same thing like I seen when I was at Jackson State. Ain't no better than what I was at when I was at Jackson State. I can go there. I could go to all these schools, all these white schools, and point out all the differences in what I seen and what you see at a black school.
You know another thing you can add? Y'all school got right when y'all got rid of the president and the AD.
At Jackson?
Yep.
It's all
everything went on the up and up.
Leadership is what it is. My whole thing is, man, we could go all down the line. There's problems at PWIs, there's problems at HBCUs, but do not lump just all the 107 whatever HBCUs in the same category of what Bethune-Cookman going through right now.
Hey, look here. The thing is that people can say, you know, HBCUs. Let's just do that. Let's just say, hey, why does all HBCUs have this financial problem? But at PWIs, their students have psychiatric problems. Like they be stressed, mentally stressed.
We are easy to pick. It's easy to pick on us.
Mentally stressed. So look here, I would rather have a financial issue than to have a mental issue. I'd rather have a financial breakdown than to have a mental breakdown.
Oh, true. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna say it like this. EA, I know what you're saying. I understand where it comes from because Ed Reed should never lump all HBCUs together. He should have never said that. He should have never lumped that. He should have just said Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman has an issue. Bethune-Cookman need to get their stuff in order. Bethune-Cookman need to get their shit together. And if I hit a nerve with you, even though I understand you just said you went to some other person said they went to a HBCU, then how about wherever HBCU went to, try to see what they need to do. Try to see what type of help they need. Because, like I said, this is a Bethune-Cookman issue. That's all we focusing on. Because Ed Reed was the so-called head coach of Bethune-Cookman football for 25 days. Ed Reed the past weekend, went on a rant about Bethune-Cookman. He lumped HBCUs in Bethune-Cookman's mess. Let's not get this. I mean, let's not get this confused with anything else, man. I'm just saying though. I'm just saying because I get tired of just, to me, I get tired of hearing stuff about they don't do this and they don't do that. It's just the same shit we just went through with Dion.
Yeah.
Man, people been doing that before Dion. So
and that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is with what we got with a celebrity coach, and I don't even call Ed Reed a celebrity coach. He ain't been in no movie. He ain't been in no TV shows or nothing like that. This man played football.
But he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. To me, I still wouldn't call no celebrity coach. I'll call him a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But I won't call him a celebrity like how Dion was. Dion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
But Doc, he is a household name. He played in two
Dion is
Super
a
Bowls.
brand. Dion is a brand.
Yeah.
Ed Reed was not a brand.
I don't know about that, but I know he's a household word. Everybody knows. He's a Hall of Famer. How many Super Bowls did he play in?
We know that, but
he's known now.
He's not the brand that Dion is, though.
I'm not comparing. I don't know that. But I'm still. He still would be considered a celebrity.
I understand, and I understand where Mr. Ford you coming from, but I
Larry Little
I understand where
was
Mr.
Larry
Ford
Little
coming from. I understand
celebrity.
where Coach Green's coming from. But what I'm
Larry
just
Little
saying
was a
is,
Hall of Famer.
yeah, he's a
So
Hall of Famer.
was he a celebrity?
He was. I don't know if he had the notoriety of an Ed Reed and a Dion. I don't know if everybody knew his name, but they know them guys' names.
Was he a celebrity?
Now I got a
NFL
question.
celebrity. Yeah. He'd be an NFL celebrity.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. I'm gonna tell you like this, and then we're gonna stop. I understand we all are underfunded. Do you understand that most of our schools are in red states? I understand this. You think I'm stupid? You think I'm naive
you don't
to
have
the
to
whole
respond
situation?
to him, dog.
I'm not responding. Hey, moderators, can y'all let's do this? Let's do the job right here. Get him out the way, because the whole thing is it's not what I'm saying is it's not about a whole HBCU issue. If we want to get on the whole HBCU issue, I would have did a show about all HBCUs, but I ain't doing a show about all HBCUs. I'm doing a show about Bethune.
I got a question though.
Go ahead,
a question
man.
for everybody. I got a question for everybody, so we can move on, man. Forget people like that.
Thank you, man.
Do everybody actually care what the players think? Do anybody care what the players are thinking?
That's a good question right there.
Because I posed this question on the space earlier, and I said, because I knew it was coming, but I kind of got brushed to the side on, because I use Grambling as an example. They say, "Oh, that's just Grambling. These players didn't say nothing," and I said,
"That's bull. They did say something."
I know, but look, this is why I said though. This is my question to him. I get that A. Reed said it all wrong, but I asked this question was, would the school try to get rid of the students because the students would have said this, if they say the same thing as A. Reed in the same tone as A. Reed, would they get rid of the students?
I see what you're saying. Now you playing the double-edged sword right there. You get what he said, Mr. Ford?
What repeat what did he say now?
He said, would the school get rid of the students about the same way that they did with Ed Reed? About what they said.
You saying if the students had said what he said?
Yeah.
About the school.
I don't know about the students, but I knew they were gonna get rid of him because he crossed the line.
No, I'm asking, would you get rid of? All right, if you was in their shoes, would you get rid of the students that they say the same thing?
Yeah, I would, because he
would get rid of the students.
Yeah, you talking about the football players?
No, he just said
all 160 football players. You would get rid of all of them if they went out and said the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
I would get rid of. I'm gonna say it like
this.
When I heard him say what he said, I knew he was through. I knew that. I knew it was over for him.
Hold up, Mr. Ford. So you and Timona both saying y'all will get rid of all the students that got that's on the football team, all 106, if they just did the same thing Ed Reed did.
Yes, destruction of property.
No, what destruction of property?
No. I understand. No. What I'm saying is, he's saying where he said that Ed Reed went on the Instagram live and said what he said. That's what he's saying, not the destruction of property. I wouldn't. To me, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, listen. When I told you, I didn't know anything about it. Somebody called me. I went on to hear what he said. I knew after I heard that he was going to be through. And personally, I thought he should have been dismissed.
I'm asking the question: would you get rid of the students if they went on that same rant?
I don't know. I know I would get rid of him. I would get rid of him. I don't know about.
I think you have to be careful.
Listen, I can't answer that question you talking about the student. But I'm saying what he said, he deserved to be relieved. The student.
No, what you said, Timona?
I said you have to walk a fine line with students because there's a certain level of a freedom of expression versus a potential employee representing your university.
Look, I ain't talking about that. We got through that part.
MFers? Didn't he call them MFers?
He called them motherfuckers. He called them motherfuckers.
That's what I said. Yeah, I knew he was gone.
Y'all doing the same thing they did on the space. I ain't asking about Ed Reed. We understand that point. I understand that point. I'm saying
see
if the
what you- I
I
student,
see
was
what she's
answering the
saying.
question. I said when it comes to students, even though I do think that expletives are not covered under the freedom of speech, there is a certain fine line that you have to walk. Like, for instance, when these students go and they do their protesting on Monday, Bethune-Cookman has to walk a fine line with retaliation, not allowing them to express themselves. So with students, it's different. With
'Cause
Ed
they'll
but
get
Reed, it
I'm
ugly.
was
asking
not
a yes or no.
time.
I'm asking a yes or no question though.
I just
No.
told you what the answer was. I
She said,
said
"No, she
you
won't
have
do it."
to walk a fine line. I would have to see what is their disparaging clause, what the students said. If the students were saying, these motherfuckers didn't have my financial aid right. I'm tired of this shit. I didn't even get my financial aid. I can't even get into housing. The rent is too damn high. I don't even have a place to stay.
I don't care about the financial aid part because the simple
What
fact
I'm saying to
that's not
you
the school.
is there is a certain fine line you have to walk when you say you're going to tell a student that they can no longer be on your campus. You can't just say that to a student just because they're saying that there's something messed up about your campus. You'll have a lawsuit on your hands.
Here's the
Ed
whole
Reed,
thing.
with Ed Reed, number one, he
Look, we
wasn't
don't have to go through
signed.
that. I just said I understood that part.
You can't say because you're at the end of the day, you're relating Ed Reed's behavior to the student's behavior. To
No,
which I said,
I just wanted. No, I'm not really. Look, I'm just want to know. I just want to hear this. I just want to hear the answers to that because my thing is this. This is what I feel, and one of the things I feel is I feel like everybody that got comments are not listening to the student athletes, and when student athletes say something, they basically just brushing them aside. And that's my biggest issue right there. Oh, they're like, oh, nah, you just need to go get somebody else. Don't worry about Ed Reed. And they sitting there explaining to you what's going on, but nobody listening to the student athletes.
I listened to the student talking, but Ed Reed messed up so bad he cannot come back. I understand that the students feel like their voices were heard. I understand that they felt like he was going to bring about change. More so, I feel like the students saw the change that Deion Sanders did at Jackson State, and they thought that Ed Reed was going to bring that same type of change. But Ed Reed is not Deion Sanders, number one. Number two, Bethune-Cookman is not Jackson State. So, with that being said, the students at Bethune-Cookman saw what was happening at Jackson State and what Deion Sanders was doing. And when Ed Reed showed up, they thought
You didn't
this
listen
is
to the
about to
students.
be.
You're
Well,
not listening to the
let
student
me say
athletes.
this. I listened to
You're
the
not listening to the
students,
student
and
athletes
let
because
me say this.
they said
You,
they saw the
hold
changes
on.
that was. They
wait a
said they
minute.
saw the changes that was happening while he was
Well,
there.
let me say this. Now, you said that I didn't listen to the student. I listened to the student, and what I said was, after listening to that young man talk in the interview he did with Doc, I told you, I said, it's bigger than athletics, because some of that stuff he was talking about, that stuff is going to cause them to lose their accreditation. So I was listening to him, and what I concluded was, that's bigger than athletics. It's bigger than athletics. I said that. I don't know if you were on the chat or if you were listening.
No, I wasn't on the
but I
chat when he
said
said that. I wasn't on the chat. I
Okay,
wasn't
I
on at the
said
time.
that. I said it was bigger than athletics.
Yes, he did say that.
And-
Now
and-
let me answer the question, Coach Green. If I'm the student, if I'm the school, I ain't doing that. Why? Because those same students that are the ambassadors of the school, they pay your bills. You get what I'm saying? They pay
I
your
get what you're
bills.
saying.
They pay
I get what you're saying.
they pay for them lights to be on. They pay for that classroom to be open. They pay for the food to come up in there. So I ain't get rid of those 2,444 students either. I'm gonna just tell you just like that. If they got something to say, they got something to say. They're gonna have something to say.
And they also have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, which it's very hard to say, but it's the truth, which is that those 100 students that are on the football team, there are 100 more students that want to play football. Don't care about they could hear about all these things and they still gonna come because they want to play football. So my thing is, even in the student athletes that are coming out and protesting, what I've learned is, and this is just even in the HBCU realm, is when you step on the wrong people's toes, sometimes it can have a negative effect. And if you're
Strength
saying
in numbers, though.
leadership,
Strength in numbers.
if you're saying that the leadership is, or not the leadership, but the board of trustees has been like this for decades or for years and years and years, then it would take a huge overhaul for them to fix it. And my thing is, in my mind, the board of trustees is going to appoint somebody to be the football person and just tell them, like, you know, do whatever you can. We're not going to worry about the wins and losses this coming season.
No,
And
look here. I say this though, because like it already happened at Graham. Some moves gonna have to be made. They're gonna have to make some great and right moves to satisfy everybody.
When
because
Dr.
that's what
Gallo,
Grambling did.
the president at the time when the protest happened at Grambling, he was Dr. Gallo.
No, he was not president. They
He
had a
wasn't
guy
the
that
No,
president.
he wasn't.
graduate of Tuskegee. I think he came from Morgan State or somewhere.
Okay.
But all the weight room got fixed. All the stuff that they was complaining about got fixed because of that protest.
But I just think we can't compare that to the Grambling thing, because Grambling is a state school and Bethune is a private school.
I know that, but the thing is, because it blew up so big, what Ed Reed did, he blew it up. And
Ed Reed didn't necessarily blow it up. He just, he made a lot of generalized statements. He didn't say there's mold in the helmets. He didn't even know about the helmets issue. I never heard Ed Reed say it. I never heard Ed Reed say it. The student explaining exactly what was wrong. That was my first time hearing the specifics of what was wrong. Ed Reed was hollering about a clean office, and he was hollering about a field. Those are the only two things that I heard. Of which
here's the whole thing. I'm gonna go.
You act like the student. You act like the athletes didn't talk to Ed Reed about this stuff.
Hold on, Coach Green. I got something to say. Like I said on Wednesday, Mr. Ford can attest to it.
Yeah.
The way that Ed Reed went about saying that in that type of language was wrong.
True.
What he could have said was something like what Coach George said for Tennessee State. Eddie George knows that Tennessee is underfunded the whole university. He wasn't stupid. He did his due diligence. He did his homework. And but I'm gonna tell you this: before he took that job, he did his homework. He did talk to Dion about becoming a head, about the criteria for as far as being a head coach for a university. But he went about his own way in his due diligence to find out about said university that was trying to was going to interview him and hire him on.
This is my question though. What if he did do his due diligence and the board told him that we'll do this and this to help you get everything right, and then went back on their word on some stuff?
But see, and it comes
how
back.
How fast did you think they were going to put a turf field with a cracked nursing building?
Oh, the turf field is very easy to put down.
But I said, how fast do you think they're going to put a turf field down when they have buildings where students need to go to school?
Real easy, just like Jackson State put down a turf field.
The one that Walmart paid for?
Exactly.
Right. So he wanted it in his contract that Bethune-Cookman was going to provide it. So that's the problem right there. You're suggesting that Walmart take care of it, but he was trying to get it in his contract that Bethune-Cookman provide these types of services.
But what if he would have got some entity to also help Bethune get that?
then he shouldn't have been trying to get it put in his contract.
What did you hear this from about it got put in his contract? Where is that? I need to see that.
Read his release. Read his statement. Read his statement. And he says that there were certain provisions and resources that were promised in order to make sure that the athletes were and the program was successful, and those were not going to be met. So basically, there's stuff that he requested.
So did it say turf field?
It didn't have to. When he was doing his rant, he said, "I know y'all." He said, "I know y'all are lying to me. Y'all not gonna give me no fucking field. I know y'all are lying to me."
He said that. He said, I remember that.
But still,
he said, "Y'all are lying to me. I know y'all not gonna give me no fucking field." He said it in his rant, and then when he released his statement, it said there are certain resources and provisions. Now,
it did not say field though.
How tone deaf do you have to be to walk on that campus and expect for Bethune-Cookman to provide you with $1 million practice field? Oh, but you got all these billionaire friends. That's his problem. He wasn't like Dion. Dion went and did his research.
Stop that. You keep on saying he didn't. You keep on saying he don't have them. He don't have the connections.
He does not have corporate sponsors. He's going to ask his friends to make a donation.
Well, Dion's I can't say that. I can't say that though, because he is a Under Armour athlete. Even though when he was at for the University of Miami, they was licensed to wear Adidas. But he is an Under Armour athlete because he did play for the Ravens. He does know the CEO, just like Dion know the CEO of Under Armour, Kevin Plank.
And Dion is his friend.
And then I'm gonna get this right here.
Dion's getting corporate sponsors to pay for
Dion is his friend.
So what does that mean that Dion is his friend?
Hold on. So I'm gonna go there and then I'm gonna explain something. I'm gonna say something. HBCU got administrators laundering money. There's only 2 people I knew that laundered money from the HBCUs. And guess what? They all went to jail. Other than that, you can keep that narrative. Let's just say this: you do not lump these schools in all by themselves. So if you got something bad to say about an HBCU, do it on your mama's channel, not on mine.
When I say he has corporate sponsors, I mean like Deion Sanders, he is in cahoots with Barstools. What did they provide? Documentary. Walmart, what did they provide? They provided NIL deals for YHBCU, and they provided the field, and they also provided $2.4 million in scholarships.
Do you know everything you do is about who you know? Do you know every time you make big moves, it's all about who you know? When you get certain jobs, it's all about who you know. You know that, right?
I wasn't finished. Under Armour. He switched Jackson State to Under Armour. Underneath Under Armour, we all saw how many. I don't even know how many. Like 7 or 8 uniforms.
Too many.
It was just a
too many to count.
So those are.
I like them uniforms though. I ain't gonna lie.
3 of his biggest sponsors. I don't know if he signed to Amazon Prime or he during his time. So he got a brand new sponsor, and I'm just going to let you know that a lot of these sponsors looked at what Deion Sanders was doing. We talk about how much money he made at Jackson State. A lot of these corporate sponsors looked at what Deion Sanders was doing at Jackson State. And because it's goodwill marketing and good cause marketing, he gained some more relationships outside of just the ones that he already had. So then he has Amazon Prime. Boom. There's another documentary.
Look here. At the end of the day, it's all about who you know. SWAC is a corporation because he owns businesses. So SWAC is a corporation, and you know that. Knowing Dion is big.
I got another. I have another one for you. Another sponsor. Good Morning American, Michael Strahan. What did he have? He had the suits. What did he do? He gave the suits to Jackson State. That's another sponsor.
Michael Strahan is Ed Reed's friend too.
I'm not talking about friend. I'm talking about court. We're talking. There's a difference between I have a friend, I have a corporate relationship. There's a
That
big
means he gonna have a. If he's your friend, that means that's a corporate relationship.
No.
Yes, it does.
Ed Reed being friends
Michael
with
Strahan is a corporation, right? Michael
Ed,
Strahan Business is a corporation, right?
Yeah, he's a corporation.
no, but what I'm saying is when we talk about corporate, Michael Strahan and Deion Sanders are underneath the same entertainment company, SMAC Entertainment.
Is he a corporation?
So they do. No, he's not. He works for Good Morning America.
Hold up. So you mean? Oh my God!
I'm trying to explain to you the difference
Hold
between
on,
someone being a friend and someone having a corporate sponsorship and someone having a corporation. You keep on talking about of all Ed Reed's friends, but I'm trying to highlight to you the difference between I got a friend who's going to help me with this versus I have a corporate sponsor. It's a difference.
But let me say this though before you continue. Let me say this. I put it like this. In a sense, I cannot compare Ed Reed to Deion Sanders because they are two totally
different people.
Amen.
We can't. I'm saying this, Timon, and I'm not knocking your argument. I'm not knocking the argument because what you're saying, because you're breaking it down to me. You're breaking it down for everybody to hear. What I'm saying is, Deion Sanders is a household name, right? Deion Sanders is a brand by himself, regardless of what anybody would say. He's a brand by himself. You know what I'm saying? Deion can go into white America. He can go into those boardrooms and he could talk his way to it. That's one thing Deion can do. Ed Reed,
and you don't think?
Hold on, Coach Green. Ed Reed, and I'm gonna just put it just like this. Ed Reed is a household name. Why? Because the two things that they got comparable to each other. One is, first of all, they both played on the same team at one point in time with the Baltimore Ravens. And two, they both are Hall of Famers. But the difference between Deion Sanders and Ed Reed is like night and day. Ed Reed is a football player. Ed Reed still have we got to understand. Ed Reed still had the mentality of a football player. You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem. He thought
but what I'm saying is the people say that's the problem. But what I'm saying is this is where I'm coming in at. Ed Reed is a football player. Ed Reed wants to be a football coach. Ed Reed he can still get those sponsors, those donors and stuff like that. It might be a little bit harder for him to get it like Deion Sanders, with who Deion got the gift of gab. Am I lying or not?
Why,
Mr. Ford?
Yeah.
Deion got to get the gab.
That's why you leverage.
Deion could talk his way out of jail.
Deion can sell water to a fish.
And that's
all I was saying is there's a difference between Deion Sanders going to these corporate relationships that are built, and Ed Reed going to Deion Sanders saying, "Help me get some like Ed Reed has to go through Deion Sanders to get to Walmart. Deion Sanders just
no, he didn't. You don't have to just go through Deion.
I'm gonna get some pushback. I'm gonna push back. I don't think Ed Reed got to get Deion Sanders go through Walmart, because I'm gonna tell you just like right now, Deion Sanders ain't worried about nothing else but Colorado right now.
Yes, if you're in PR, if you're in like the marketing realm, you would know that Ed Reed is a bad investment.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's your opinion. He's not a bad investment. That's your opinion.
Wait a minute. How can that be her opinion?
That's your opinion.
How can that be her opinion when he just showed out last week?
So just because he showed out don't mean he's a bad. Just because he showed out don't make him a bad investment. Because it got just because of who he is. Just because of who he is, people will still mess with him.
I don't know if a
You
Walmart,
don't. You gotta understand this.
a Target, a
It
T-Mobile,
don't
a
matter.
Target,
He will
Academy
still.
Sports,
They will still mess with him.
Bass Pro Sports. I don't know of any of those donors that would invest in somebody that says motherfucker and they're
That's
talking
what I'm
about
saying.
their
I'm ready to see.
And
Yeah.
this is how you. This is how you wrong. This is how you wrong.
I understand
This
you
is how
got to
you
say
wrong.
that. I understand that it was in his thing. We got to keep the show. I got to keep the show kind of clean right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
gonna say
sorry.
this.
But if you're
This is-
telling
this
student athletes, that they shouldn't cuss on their Instagram because it doesn't look good for your NIL
Hold up.
deal.
I'm gonna
How
say
does
this. I'm
that
gonna sit
not
here and say
hold
this.
true
I'm gonna
for
sit here and say
athletes?
this. This is why you was wrong. Because these people was lined up to help Ed Reed after doing that. After he did that, it had people lined up to help him. Before Bethune stepped in and said, "Nah, we don't want you as a coach." So let's show you how wrong. Just because his name is Ed Reed, Baltimore Ravens legend, he still got hands
Coach,
in
you
certain
worship
people's pockets.
celebrities, man. You worship celebrities.
See
You
that's where
worship
you wrong at,
celebrities.
bro.
You
I'm not
do,
worshiping no. I'm
You
not
do,
just
you
because
do.
you don't like my opinion. You can't sit there and say
No, you
I
worship
worship celebrities. You
do.
wrong for that, dog. You wrong for that, Dr. Ford. I mean, Mr. Ford, you was wrong, dog. You was wrong. You're not gonna sit there and do that to me.
Hold on. Cause we about to go out the rail. Cause we don't need to go out the rail about that. My whole thing, this whole thing was the whole stream was about Ed Reed fumbled his opportunity. He fumbled the opportunity because of what he said.
Yeah.
And not because of the way he said it, is the way he said it. That's the reason why I say he fumbled his opportunity. He said it the way he said it. All right. But in listening to the student athlete that came on earlier, because we've been on this thing for almost 3.5 hours. Listen to the student athlete that came on earlier, and he spoke his piece. Because he's been texting me, and he's afraid that Bethune-Cookman is going to go and try to do something to him. Now, I've told him I got his back, and they not going to do a damn thing to him. If they got a problem with what he said on my platform, then they can come talk to me. Point blank. I'm telling y'all, man. We trying to understand how Bethune-Cookman. At first, we try to understand how Bethune with Ed Reed. Then we go back to how Bethune-Cookman, as far as football goes, how are the conditions that they was going through 2 natural disasters and all this stuff right here, what they would, how they handling this. Then
And still having an interim president.
And then we jump to what the hell is Bethune-Cookman doing as the school? As the school. I'm talking about a school. What has Bethune-Cookman done in the last 10, 11, 12 years? Even though I understand that they was on probation, and Mr. Campbell put this in the chat earlier, they was on probation.
Mm-hmm.
They got their accreditation back.
Mm-hmm.
But what you think all this coming out, and you think SWAC ain't gonna take anything like this? They not gonna listen to this. They not gonna watch this. Guess what? It's some people that's gonna be watching this. They'll probably send it to SWAC and be like, "Hey, Bethune-Cookman ain't doing what they supposed to be doing." And guess what? Mr. Ford just said what they said. They'll be down there quick, fast, in a hurry to audit the university. They're the ones that are going to audit their university, not the state, because it's not a state school.
And that's why I say they're gonna have to do something big.
They gonna have to. What I'm saying, and this one saying, Coach Green, and Mr. Ford put this in there earlier too. So, and this is involving the athletics. All right, Dr. McClellan got to go down there, just like he said. He got to come off that high horse in Birmingham. and fly down to Daytona and
But
see
what can
that.
McClellan do?
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you just what Dr. McClellan can do. Just how he got appointed by the 12 presidents, or let's just say 11 presidents and the board of trustees. He has the power to go down there to see what's up with the athletic program, not just the football program, the athletic program, and see what is going on with the athletic program. And then like I said, if SACs, the people that gives the accreditation to the university, if they find out what's going on and they go down there and they look at them books and they see what's up, they visit those buildings, they see all this stuff, and they're going to try to do something drastic to the point where there's a point of no return. And what I'm saying is, do we want Bethune-Cookman to lose his accreditation to get shut down? Do we want that?
No. Nope.
We don't want that. Just like Mr. Ford said, we do not need to have any of our other HBCUs closed down because of the foolishness, not said because of said president, but because of said board of trustees.
And I experienced the school shutting down. I attended a JUCO that was an HBCU, Mary Holmes Community College.
I remember Mary Holmes.
Yeah. I was the last graduating class, 03.
I was in Jackson when Mary Holmes closed down. My partner went to Mary Holmes. I remember that.
Yeah,
and
I'm
like
the last graduating class.
And Mr. Ford said, we do not need to have another university that was built for us closed down because of some foolishness that they can't get their stuff together.
I'm so happy Morris Brown got it together, though.
And Mr. Ford, you still on there?
Yeah.
Don't trust me. It's some success stories about HBCUs.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous for the $10 donation.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it's a lot of success stories from HBCUs that have come back from the brinks of getting.
Yeah, I think Payne College came. You know, they were after Payne College. I think they came back.
Lamar
Brown got theirs back after 20-something years.
Lamar was in trouble once.
Yeah.
So let's think of ways to where we can get stuff done without saying this, that, and the third. Like I said,
hold people accountable.
Thank you. Hold people accountable. And I'm not gonna get on the president. I'm not gonna get on the interim president of Bethune-Cookman because he is just a pawn. He's a puppet in this whole thing. It's just like we said, it's that board of trustees. And if you want me to go down the line and name the board of trustees, we can do that. Because I got the time and I got the day to do it right now.
But I just wanted to figure out, like, what is an actual plan? Like, what is something that can actually, like, would in reality that could happen? And the only thing that I could come up with is Bethune-Cookman asking for a waiver for their football team, unless they're going to be able to get the funding to buy all this stuff, which if you're a school that has infrastructure that's debilitated and devastated by a hurricane, what do you look like spending $300,000 on uniforms and helmets and a track and field? Like, what do you look like after this hurricane investing that money in something that it's not even going to make you a profit? Because,
well, you know what? You know,
I just
one of
did.
the people they need to contact. Just two people I want them to contact, and if they could, bring them in as consultants. One is Ruth Simmons, down at Dr. Ruth Simmons at Prairie View.
At Prairie
The
View.
other one is William Harvey. Now, the reason I say Ruth Simmons has contact with Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. Ruth Simmons is one of the reasons, and Toni Morrison, is the reason she gave all that money to a number of them HBCUs. Okay? So I would say bring in Dr. Ruth Simmons, bring in Dr. Harvey, who is a former president of Hampton University.
Mhm.
They know money sources. Like y'all talking about you got to know somebody and all that. They know money sources that can help bring that school back to financial solvency. But those are two people. But the other thing I still say, and I wasn't saying it for a joke, I would make Lynn Thompson the president and I give him a 5-year contract and we would go from there.
Now I'm gonna run down these people on the board of trustees. Jay Blue, you still with me, man? I don't know if you went to sleep on me.
Yeah, I'm still here, man. Hey,
All
just one quick thing. I looked at the board of trustees list, and didn't you interview?
Yes, I did. I was just gonna go down there too. Yes, I
was gonna
did.
say, reach out to him, and I know he probably ain't gonna do a video on this or interview on this, but you could probably ask him some questions though.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him. So, board of trustees, board chair, the Honorable Belvin Perry Jr. Esquire. So he's the head of the whole thing. He's the head honcho. Vice Chair Joyers Pete Gamble, Secretary Jennifer Adams, Chaplain Jeffrey E. Branch, the Parliamentarian Deveron Gibbons, and here's the members, y'all: David Brewer, Lorenzo Brown, John Crossman. That's who I interviewed last week. If nobody did watch that interview that I did with John Crossman, y'all need to go back and watch it. Gregorio Greg Francis Esquire, Courtney Rhodes, John A. Williams, faculty trustee Dr. Hector N. Torres, ex officio Dr. Lawrence Drake, Alice Williams, UMC representative, Student Government Association representative. Those are your board of trustees for Bethune-Cookman.
How long ago was that interview?
The interview I did with Mr. Crossman?
Yeah.
Last week.
Last week? I'm going to go back and watch it.
Last week.
So definitely going to go back and watch it.
So those names right there, those are the people that sits on the board of trustees that appoint the presidents. And just like here you go, thank you, Miss Eleni. You put it just like that. Proper leadership is key to a successful HBCU. That is what we need to have right there. It is almost about to be 4 hours on this thing, y'all. I got it's Cowboys play tomorrow, so I got to get ready for to sell a whole bunch of jerseys tomorrow before the game.
Yeah, I gotta get up for a game tomorrow, man. We got a game tomorrow.
Man, who y'all play for tomorrow, Coach Green?
Fish University.
All right. And it's in Holly Springs?
Nah, it's at Suno.
It's Suno?
Yeah, it's at Suno.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're in New Orleans right now.
It's a tournament?
Yeah, it's called a roundup.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
cool. Yeah, we played Friday and we played today and we played Sunday. And we won that. We beat Wiley on Friday, beat Suno today, and we got Fish Sunday.
All right. It's Miss Tamona, what you got for your show, or you got anything coming up down the pipeline as far as getting everything started?
So I did have my first live today. That was fun.
Oh, you ain't tell me. Oh,
it was earlier. You was at work.
I would still look at it.
Hold on, accountable, Doc. Hold on, accountable.
I would have watched it, but she won't. If we're gonna do a live,
it was one of those. Ed Reed is getting fired. Let me go ahead and get on live real quick and talk.
Okay.
Oh, Doc, she was popping. She had like 430 on there, 430 people on there, man.
Ooh,
it was my first live, so that was fun. But you know what? I didn't expect for this to happen. But on my page, I break down. See, this is funny because we get to see the evolution of Ed Reed, right? Because me, you, Mr. Ford, and a couple others, when it was first announced, we broke down how good it would be for Bethune-Cookman,
Yep.
how this is a way to turn the page on sports at Bethune, and how excited we were. And we talked about what he could bring to the table. And then not even 3 weeks later, here I am talking about how it was just bad and, so it's definitely a turn of events. But I I'm going to be soon talking with the gentleman who was responsible for helping Alabama State get the funding for their stadium. I'm going to talk to him on my live just to talk about how he was able to fund that through bonds and through the credit rating instead of going through state funding. And then another project that
That
I'm
was
working on is
good
speaking
leadership
about,
right there. That was good leadership.
right. And then the last one that I'm working on is having talking with she's a reporter in Mississippi, and she basically deals with higher education. So trying to get an understanding of how Jackson State is not able to get their water system, how it works between IHL and the Department of Finance, and
Doggone
just
governor.
speaking with her to figure it out, why it doesn't keep getting denied
Right.
and what can be
Take
done
Reed.
to supersede that.
Take Reeves.
Right. And then Mississippi does have an election coming up next year, I want to
Man,
say.
we gotta get rid of. We gotta
But
get rid of him.
the issue is that Mississippi is very much black and white. Like there's
Yep.
no gray area. If you're black, you're black, and if you're white, and they pretty much vote along those lines. There's not
How you
very
feel?
much of
I got a question for you, Timon. How you feel
yeah.
about Elvis Presley cousin running? I know people gonna like him just because of who he is. You think that he got a chance?
Who is that? Is that the one that Mr. Benny Thompson endorsed?
Yep.
I didn't know that was his cousin, but
Yeah.
I will say this: when white people found out that Benny Thompson endorsed him, they were like, we're not voting for him." I mean, it's just very much so like
Yeah.
to
You
their
right about
detriment.
that.
Like Mississippi politics, I'm a political science major, and it's interesting how they said that people will vote just based off of, like, if you're asking them a question, would you like to help the poor? They'll most likely say yes. But if you say, would you like to invest in a welfare program? They'll say no, just based off of a word. So me personally, I don't think that it's a regime change. It needs to be like the feds intervening. But anyway, that's what I'm working on. Subscribe to my YouTube. Check me out.
Put it in the chat as always.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Coach Green. Jay Blue, you got anything down the line, man? Because you
Man,
hanging it. You was in there. You hung in there for a second.
I'm hanging in there, man. I ain't got nothing going on, man.
All right. And Mr. Ford, I'm still gonna get in touch. We need to get in touch with you about the Black History Month thing for next month. We can do some shows on that. And
make sure all your listeners read that article by Forbes magazine called "How the Government Cheated Black Colleges, Black Universities Since the 1980s."
Okay,
that's the one that tells you that they owe Tennessee State 1.9 billion, FAM 1.9 billion. They owe North Carolina A&T 2.7. Well, they stole $2.7 billion from North Carolina A&T. But if they get a chance, go to Forbes magazine. It's called "How the Government Stole Money from the HBCUs."
all right. Is 155 people in the chat, y'all, that's watching this. So I'll put my cash out And what we're gonna do is a collective. This is a collective that we're gonna do. Like I said, is you can help out. You can send $5, you can send $10, you can send 15, 20, 25. It don't matter. This is a collective for the players on the Bethune-Cookman football team. It don't matter where it goes to. It matters where it goes to, but this is just to help them out. Now, okay. The Cash App is right there. This is a collective. You don't have to donate a lot. Shout out to my guy, DeJuan Jameson. He donated $50 to the Cash App. Make sure if you want to donate, we put it, that's the Cash App handle right there, that we can get these kids and help these kids out, because that is the main thing about what this show was about. Now, part of the show was about. Now, if you just hear and if you don't want to give and you just try to put your 2 cents in, what type of person are you? I'm just like that. So my thing is this. I'm gonna say it just like this: put your money where your mouth is. That's all you gotta do. Put your money where your mouth is, and I'll make sure this don't go in my pocket. This does not go in my pocket. This is going to them. We cannot, and the reason why we put it in my Cash Out instead of in the players' Cash Out is because if you do it like that, if you give the players money from yourself, you are considered a booster. And that is an NCAA violation. And we do not want to get these kids caught up with the NCAA. All right. So if you down with it, put your money where your mouth is. If not, I just knew what you was about when you first got on here. But SWAC fan, thank you. Shout out to the Fist Gymnastics team. I did see a couple of videos from them about what they did with the gymnastics.
Shout out to
like
Fist.
that.
I ain't gonna like y'all Sunday.
He ain't gonna like you Sunday, but shout out to Fist though. John Blue, man, Jake Blue, thank you, man, for the donation. Man, look, that's all we need to do. All we ask for is donation. Is going to go back to them. It's not in my pocket.
Takes a village, man. Takes
a village. And if y'all don't want it, you know what I'm saying? You could just put it just like that, put it in the chat, and Cash App, it'd be like, hey, this for the kids. This for the kids. Y'all go check out She Loves D on her podcast. So y'all make sure y'all support her, because even though there was a passionate argument, we still all family up in here, y'all. we still
I still
family.
love you, Mr. Ford, but don't do me like that no more.
But everybody, man, everybody, I appreciate everybody for coming on the stream, man. We was up to almost 300 people up in here. Y'all pray for my guy Austin, man, because he don't deserve none of that. These kids don't deserve none of that stuff that's going on with them. So if you're down with it, go ahead and put your name. I mean, just go ahead and give me $5. You could put $5 in the Cash App. It don't matter. Like I said. But anyway, y'all. I'm not gonna do
I gotta go, man. Gotta do some room checks, man. Gotta go.
All right, bro. Thank you, man. I'm not gonna do
problem,
man. I ain't gonna do no show tomorrow because that's Cowboys game. Cowboys time. So look out for Monday. I might do something on Monday. I'll be on vacation on Monday. So y'all we'll check on down the pipeline. We'll highlight some SWAC basketball. I was gonna do that today, but I didn't have time to do that because this was more important than the SWAC basketball. So that would be a roundup for Monday. Shout out to everybody that was on here. Shout out to my wife that regulated the channel. And you know what I'm saying, doing an excellent job as being the executive producer of this show, of this podcast. And it's not only thing we can do is, man, we can go up from here and we get bigger. But as always, y'all, man, I'm gonna be easy. Look, y'all be blessed, man. Y'all stay safe. And as always, man, let me get this thing right here. Y'all stay dangerous. And I will see everybody on Monday. Peace.